Well, here we are. Another edition of Realities May Vary. Hosts may vary, personnel may vary, settings may vary. Everything about this show may vary. Craig is here. I am here. Cody is going to be here. It looks like you're in a different room. Have they moved you?
Yes, they have. We are in a new upgraded suite in the
Wow.
Yeah.
Things have gone that well after your first week of shows in Peoria that now they've upgraded you to a suite.
I actually had to plead for this specifically, and it's now on my dime, Noonan. But yeah, let's go with what you said. Let's do it your way. They upgraded me because of talent.
Sure, why not? Listen.
Yeah.
So last week we didn't mention why. We just said something came up and you weren't here.
Yes.
But do you mind if you said you forgot?
Well, no,
that was what you told Cody and I. I know you had stuff going, but your text was, I forgot.
There's a twofold situation going on at the same time. The first one being that when I got here in Peoria, I didn't have my vehicle. And I don't know if you've ever gone vehicle-less. I was renting a car to get around because we don't have the transportation that a Chicago has here in Peoria, Illinois. It would actually be almost the entirety to walk there from where I'm located to actually get to the bus area anyway. So I was renting a car. And my mechanic is talking to me for the entire time I'm here, telling me I can pick it up this day, and then he kept pushing it a day. We were doing Wednesday as far as the quarantine cast
we had been doing Wednesdays.
So the mechanic expects to give it to me Monday afternoon, right while I'm on air. Actually, he says, you know what, it's going to be one more day tomorrow. I agree to the mechanic because I think for whatever reason the show's Wednesday. We get to Tuesday. I get a text from Cody half an hour before the show starts, like, oh, yeah, the show's tonight. That'll be fun. Then it dawns on me as I'm going to pick up my car in Bloomington, Illinois, an hour from Peoria, that no, I can't be in two places at once. And so I apologize to the both of you. I chose to liberate my vehicle so I could stop paying $100 a day to Hertz.
That's ridiculous.
It sucked. The money I've spent relocating to Peoria has been disappointing. Let's put it that way. But hopefully it ends soon. We are buying a house. Hopefully, knock on wood.
Yeah, this was a fun week because it was very domestic. Well, it was fun for Cody and I because it was very domestic. Because you texted us, you were having the house inspection, which is always fraught with peril. Because
apparently,
well, yeah, I mean, when we look at house, I mean. You and I are talented in other ways. We have other skill sets, but we don't know foundations and roofs and that kind of stuff. So you're counting on somebody else. So when you look at a house, you go, this house looks pretty good. And then professionals come in and they go, this house doesn't look pretty good.
My real estate agent called it the point when we ruin your dream. She goes, this is the point in the whole process. And I was like, I don't see it that way. Personally, I see it as protecting me from a horrendous mistake because that's truthfully what it's supposed to be. They did find issues. I don't want to get into too much detail.
Right.
They're not awesome issues.
Oh, no.
One of them specifically, with our chimney is tremendously poor. And so now we're in the part of the process where we're negotiating the fixing. And I don't know, since you've been through it before, we gave all our list of ideas, I guess that's what we're going to call them, to our real estate agent on Friday after those inspections. Nothing. Radio silence. Not that I've texted her. I'm sure I could ask her what's going on. And we were hoping to move in early. There is a way in which you can take possession of homes early, and they seemed cool with it. We seemed cool with it. It didn't work. I'm still in the hotel. So, we don't know. We don't know how long this part of the process goes. I imagine they're going to get some other construction human to tell us our guy's an idiot. But our guy seems pretty smart.
They're going to have their own guys run through, and then they're going to go, well, all right, we'll do this and this.
Okay.
But it's one of those, the reason they say it's where you kill your dreams, because if one or both of you are like, this is the house, I can't picture myself living anywhere else. This is where we're going to grow old and raise our children. And the other, then if they go, this house is a dump. Not that they're saying that about yours, but in general, there's Cody jumping in.
Hey,
hello, Cody. How are you?
I jump. That's what I do. I jump.
You jump in.
My
Everybody's very.
By the way,
we're talking about Craig's home inspection and how he reached out to us this week for our expert advice.
Yeah. I feel like I've been giving a lot of unsolicited advice, but only because it's fresh to me, and there's a lot of stuff you can miss that then would be bad to miss. So if I overstep,
No,
just tell me
no,
that you don't
no.
want any.
You did not, Cody. To be fair,
That's what he said.
I did. To be fair, I did ask you both for your feedback. Cody sent 75 texts within the course of like 2 minutes. Brian sent 2. The second one being, Cody's got this covered. I'm done now. So it was.
Well, I said, fun. I sent the keywords. I didn't need to get into detail. Check the roof, check the foundation, check the plumbing and electrical, and what else is there to say?
I actually didn't tell you guys. I my cell phone to my real estate agent with Cody's text on it, and she read them to the guy doing the inspection as part of the process. Like I was like, "There's a lot here. Just do this." And so we did ask most of your questions, Cody. They came from the phone via the text.
That's hilarious.
Cody did have the good one about the chimney.
Yeah, well, and the chimney's terrible. So thank you for getting us inspected. Like that's the worst thing they found. It's tremendously expensive to fix it, and our hearts were set on said chimney. So we're not sure how that's going to go.
So what are they going to do? Take a wrecking ball, knock the chimney off the top of the house?
I guess it's repairable, but it's in the thousands of dollars. So we'll see.
Roger, our good friend Roger Badish jumping in. He's in the same situation as you, Craig. He just moved into his brand new house. He said the first 2 houses we saw looked great. First one was held up by bricks under a broken beam. Yeah, Ooh. See, that's why you have those inspections. So they go, I don't think there should be a hydraulic jack holding up your house. And you go, all right, well, I don't know much about this kind of stuff.
Most of the stuff they said was fine. The one other thing that I disliked, if I'm being honest, Cody told us to check all the appliances. The guy doing the home inspection, who I guess is like a builder of homes, didn't want to do that because they were newfangled with crazy buttons. So he's like, I'm not messing with the appliances. And so we're just asking how old they are. Yeah. If they're too old, I don't want them. Because our guy.
Do they still do those? Do they still do those home warranties for that kind of stuff?
That's what my real estate agent said. We could get a home warranty and it would cover that stuff, but I don't know. That's not what
they should have. No. That's something they should have to cover because every time we bought a house, we had one, and things like if the air conditioner went within a certain time, or something big like that, it covered it, and we didn't have to pay for it. So it was no skin off our back, but it was a little peace of mind. So we didn't end up like Cody waiting 22 months for a dishwasher to come, off the back of somebody's truck that we don't know where it actually came from.
We asked for a home warranty and they wouldn't pay for it. But our sellers were playing hardball. They really they did not want to give us anything. We were lucky we got a few $100 for incidentals, we asked them well, we need the cover for the base. You said what that is last week, the basement cover thing, drain
for the
window
for the window wells.
Yeah, the window well covers. Window well cover. He bought a 2x4 foot piece of plywood and just dropped it on there. It's come on, all right. Okay.
Yeah, that's like a landscaping kind of deal. That's something that's one of if I was selling too, I'd go, nah, it's window well covers, forget it. Nobody's fallen in. I've lived here for 30 years. Nobody's fallen in the window well. You psycho.
And Cody, to tell you what the audience and Brian know, but you don't. We submitted all our stuff on Friday for repairs we want. Zero reaction so far. It's only been a couple days, but I don't know. Maybe this is the hardball part of the process where they just wait us out and we might give up on what we want. Although we're not gonna, if they're watching. I'm giving up.
To be honest, I don't think that. I'm sure they're just looking and trying to figure it all out. Because if they were playing hardball, you would have heard Friday night late. Go screw yourself. No. We're not doing anything.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. All righty.
Yeah. It's a buyer's market, isn't it?
Oh, hey, can I talk about one other thing?
Sure,
is it? I think it's
a seller's market. It's a somebody's market. Somebody's market.
Yeah.
There is a market where we know
true.
that.
It's a real estate market. There are buyers and sellers.
On sale. They're going quickly.
There are people with money. There are people without money.
Right.
People with houses.
Can I talk about? Okay.
Yes.
Fine. Can I talk about my car for a second?
The one that the one that the mechanic told you to pick up Monday, then you got it Tuesday?
Yeah. So the mechanic was calling me throughout the week before I got it. pretty much telling me not to fix it. Like, he sounded sad when he would call me on the phone. He's like, yeah, this is bad. We shouldn't fix this. And I barreled through every one of those and fixed the car. And then I took it to a different guy today who actually restores vehicles, because I love my Jeep. And I asked him, just, snowball, just throw it out there. How much money to turn this into a vehicle that would be, pretty restored, like the TV show restored version? He said, simple quote, probably higher, $20,000. 96 Jeep Cherokee Country. He said he doesn't even know if the parts are available, because not a lot of people, quote, restore these vehicles.
Gee, why?
But he'd dive into it if I was serious. I looked at my wife, who thought that we were not serious. And I was like, well, I mean, like, $20,000 isn't a one-off. Like, I could do this. I could do like $500, right? Can't I slowly make this a thing that happens? Or is this
How
a
many miles
terrible
are on
idea?
it? How many miles are on it?
200,000 miles.
Why would you do any of the things you're talking about? You could literally buy like a barely used like Subaru Outback for $10,000.
So actually, Betty, when we got home, showed me a Jeep, a 2020 something that's like 20 grand for the pretty much new car. I love my car. I like slowly, like we're doing this.
Guess what?
slow.
You're going to love a new car a lot more because it's better.
No, it's not. My car
It is.
So
your car is not. It's not like you have some collectible muscle car. It's not like you got a 58 T-Bird and you're Dan Tana in the show Vegas. You're just a guy with an old Jeep, and
every part of that reference was up here for me.
That's fine, but a couple people got it, and it doesn't matter.
I'm sure they did.
The point being, a 96 Jeep Cherokee Country is not a collector's car. We're not going to the Volo Auto Museum, which we used to advertise all the time. They go, hey, man, did you see that 96 Jeep? That thing is cherry.
To be even more fair to the point you're making, Noonan, he pointed to his like other cars he's restoring, and this guy is a pretty cool dude. He restores them all on his own. He takes months to do it. Every car in there was like Mustang, convertible this. And I was like, yeah, and then me, if I'm going this road. But wouldn't it be cool to have that old school of a car all fixed and fancy?
No, if you're going, like if you had a 72 Bronco, like a vintage Bronco kind of thing, maybe. But a 96 Jeep, when you could have, listen, why don't you just put your money in a pile and set it on fire? Because it's the same, you're going to get the same return on investment as if you put money into a 96 Jeep. And I know it's country, which, that's a trim upgrade.
It's a 4-wheel drive.
There's a lot of 4-wheel drives that you can get for, 20 grand.
Not sure that I get. No, I know.
I think our realities really vary now.
Really varying.
I barely know the color of my car, let alone care what happens to it or whatever want to restore it.
Well, all I know is, go ahead.
Go ahead, Noonan. No, you knew.
I was just going to say, if I had a mechanic that was trustworthy enough that said to me, dude, you got to dump this thing, I would be thanking my lucky stars. I go, you know what? And I do. I have a guy who's like, I wouldn't fix this. That's the greatest thing, to have a mechanic you can trust rather than going.
It was two mechanics. It was one guy in Bloomington and one guy in Peoria. The guy in Bloomington is just a regular mechanic. The guy in Peoria is a restoration guy. Both of them telling me this was a terrible decision. We did land on an alternative future for my wife and I. We talked about getting her a vehicle that's not my Jeep, that might cost money. And this would be after buying the house that she likes more than me, that we're buying for her. I know, her getting a nicer car, something in a price range that makes sense, and me going a totally different road and getting a motorcycle again. And she's not anti that. She's more a fan of that, even though she mentioned that I probably won't be taking it to work in the winter. And I do live in the Midwest still. But maybe that's a good move. Instead of the $20,000 in the Jeep. Guys, where are we at? Where are your realities?
Cody, you can start, because to formulate my rebuttal to this is I'm gonna need a second.
Okay.
Hey, well, first of all, we've done stories and Curiosity Daily about when you're decluttering. What you can do is you can take a picture of the thing that you're decluttering, and then you'll have that picture and that memory forever. So we've been
doing that with my mom.
Yep. There you go. Exactly.
You took a picture.
Take a picture of your Jeep.
I tossed her. She's out.
That's terrible. That's an awful
Oh, it's
take
not
from
terrible.
Cody and Brian.
No,
Take a
I think
picture
it's
of your
perfect.
Jeep,
Wow.
make it the desktop background at work, and then you're taking it for a spin every time you turn on the mic. As for the motorcycle, that'll get you through the next 2.5 months, maybe 3 if you're lucky. So I say go for it. Just do the math, right? So if it's a $3,000 motorcycle, about $1,000 a month, seems legit.
Where are you getting a
$5,000.
$3,000 motorcycle?
The motorcycle is $5,000. It costs $5,000.
Well, it's a moped. It'll be a moped.
Oh,
but-
moped.
You know, the motorcycle I want costs $5,300.
Wow. First of all, I don't know what Betty's doing over there, but she's got you. She's got you on that lead. Good for her. She wanted a house. You got the house. She wants
a car. For her.
Listen, there's no problem. I think getting 2 cars is good. We have 2 cars. Debbie, everybody needs a car. That's fine.
No.
Weren't you in a motorcycle accident? Didn't somebody hit you on the motorcycle? I'll just say a good friend of mine from college lost his leg in a motorcycle accident.
Wow.
We'll just leave
That's
that there,
awful.
and that is a true story. And I'm not against motorcycles, but you do live in the Midwest. So as Cody mentioned, your timeline for mounting your hog and zipping around Peoria like Easy Rider, very limited.
You can mount a hog in Peoria any time of year. I've been down
Sure,
there.
they're free roaming, man. You go downtown. To the casino at 4 a.m. You're ready to go.
I resent it. I didn't resent it a few months ago. Now I have to resent that. I don't know. I mean, the motorcycle thing, like it's fun, and I didn't get in an accident per se. People tried to murder me, and I miraculously survived.
What does per se mean?
I miraculously survived people trying to take my life. That's what actually occurred.
Okay, that's
I'll
vague.
just wait. We're gonna.
I was hoping.
Okay, fine.
Yeah, let's get into it.
I know. I'll go. I was through a stoplight and someone was turning left, so I stopped the motorcycle. 2 younger ladies behind and ran right over the motorcycle like it wasn't there. But I had glanced in the rear view to see them barreling toward me and pushed up on my pegs. So as the motorcycle was launched from under me in this flipping, very sad situation, I floated in the air like Superman and landed fully on my feet as the car screeched to a stop right in front of me. Miraculously survived this car accident. The motorcycle totaled. They wound up giving me money via their insurance. But my skill as far as a man who can survive almost dying, through the roof. I'm pretty sure I can't be killed.
Well, either that or you used up your 1 extra chance.
No, I'm
you only get so many extra lives.
Yeah, you only get so many extra lives, kitty cat. And
I think that I'm practically Spider-Man if given the right level of intensity. I think that I would respond like an X-Man and my powers would again emerge. Yeah, I think so.
I'm willing to come down to Peoria tomorrow and run you over. If it's going to disprove you of this crazy thought process. I will barrel down at you with the Hyundai and you just stand there and stop it with your mind.
No, that's not what I said I'd do.
Well, you'll leap over it.
I'm Spider-Man if given the right level of delusion. So,
Okay, wait.
There we are.
Let's raise our hands. Let's raise our hands as a group. How many of us have miraculously survived a car crash? The answer is this guy. I have proof in the pudding. Oh, have you? What happened with you?
I was driving down 94 coming home from Michigan, and some idiot came across the middle, hit me. I was spinning parallel to oncoming traffic. Cars were going by me as I'm spinning from the median to the other shoulder. Cars are zipping past me, and I'm looking out my window at cars coming at me going, oh, this is not going to be good. And thankfully, the car ended up in the ditch. Debbie was following, but because she drives slower than me, she was like 10 minutes behind, and she came up as my car was sitting smoking in the ditch.
That's miraculous. Both of us can't be
miraculous.
Killed.
Right, but I'm not tempting fate anymore.
But it's I can't die. I've learned I can't be killed. I've skydived and I survived. I'm 2 for 2.
I'm willing to come down and disprove this. Betty will be very angry.
Yeah, but I think skydiving is safe. I mean,
people die sometimes.
Sure, people die doing a lot of things. Craig,
I didn't.
People, yeah. I could have had a grabber coming upstairs carrying the laundry from the basement.
Well, that's true. I don't think until
I can't be killed either, I guess.
I just want to say that until I die, I'm not wrong. And once I die, I won't know that I'm wrong. So I'm pretty sure I'm right forever.
All right.
And
Linda said
Brian,
we got to have Roger on the show again. We'll have to have Roger on the show again. He's saying you don't want to tempt fate, Craig. He said chance fate. I don't know what that means. Seriously, take it from a guy who has been run over by a VW bus. Yeah, see, Roger's been run over too. The only one who's lived a pampered, sheltered life is Cody. He hasn't faced death.
I've never done anything
But it's
remotely
coming.
risky.
Just know it's coming, Cody.
I didn't even
That's
leave my
coming
house
for you.
anymore.
I don't even like this assumption that owning a motorcycle means that I have another accident. It doesn't.
Oh
mean
no,
that.
it doesn't. Oh, it doesn't at
doesn't.
all.
Right.
I just, if
And
you're gonna buy a vehicle and living in the Midwest, like if you were doing, I don't know, if you had gotten mornings in Daytona Beach
Mhm.
or something, warm weather where you're riding all year long and there's not
Yeah.
snow and ice and stuff, I'm cool with that. I still want to get a Harley, but I want to get now the 3-wheel one because I'm old.
Yeah.
And
No,
it
those are
seems
dead. Don't
more
do that.
stable.
No, that's awful.
The
Don't do
trike.
that. No,
Then I'm the
never.
guy from
no.
Yes, the big
No.
trike.
You're a giant child that refuses to get over your childhood. That's what a guy who buys a trike is. Because you want.
I
the
never had a big
tricycle-
wheel. I never had a big wheel. They
Dude,
were
you
they
deserve
were
a
after
trike.
my time.
You earned the trike, Brian. Go
That's
for
right.
the trike.
No,
I
All
think
these
keep
years.
the hair. Is that why you haven't pulled your hair back into a ponytail yet? Because I want
I
to know when
have.
that's coming. You have?
It's coming. I just around the house just for fun.
Oh,
Yeah, because it definitely.
oh, I can see. I can see that.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
There's enough there.
Oh, there's enough.
Your
You
hair
look
grows
great
fast,
on a
dude.
motorcycle.
It would look great on a motorcycle.
Mhm.
I want to be the guy from Sons of Anarchy, the old guy with the oxygen tank and the trike. Well,
100%.
Trike's not a motorcycle. Don't buy one of those.
they sell it at the Harley store.
no.
I could still go to Sturgis.
It's more of a motorcycle than a 1996 Jeep.
That's true.
Okay, I've demonstrated I make car decisions based on emotions alone. I don't know when
Mhm.
we're just going to let that be okay.
No, I think it's fantastic. So what kind of car does Betty get? A Lamborghini?
No.
I don't know
Betty-
what kind of.
We don't have that kind of money. Betty wants another Jeep. She likes 4-wheel drive. She likes the Jeeps. All of them are way too expensive, even though I want to restore mine for 20 grand. So we're looking in the neighborhood of like 5 to 6 for a used vehicle that maybe has 4-wheel drive. I think she's found a few Toyota RAVs that might actually fit that description, even with some high mileage.
Yeah.
So
Get a
nope,
Subaru.
Cody's saying no.
Get a
Well,
Subaru Outback. Just get a Subaru.
Wow, Cody's
It's a
like
smart-
a
they're-
commercial.
They're good. They're good cars. They're reliable.
Yes.
You want a car that you're not going to take into the shop and have to repair all the time. Toyota's fine. Get a Subaru. They're better. Just get one. Just do it.
I'm very
An
happy with
Outback?
my car. Had
What's
very
your
few
car?
problems with it. I have a Hyundai Santa Fe Sport.
Or that. Got to go Japanese. I mean, sorry.
Does it
It's
does it
Korean.
have 4-wheel drive?
It comes with 4-wheel drive. Mine does not. But
not.
I made the mistake of not paying the little bit extra. I bought it new in 2013. I didn't.
Wow, Brian Noonan.
Right, but now it's
My God.
2021, and I have no plans on getting rid of the car. But
on.
I'm just
You bought a
saying
new
I didn't.
vehicle?
I bought a new vehicle. It was the first
Everybody
time.
says that's terrible as an idea. Did you feel it was terrible, or are you happy you did it?
No, I was happy.
See,
But
right.
wait, how? No, CCC doesn't equate buying a new car and putting 20 grand into
No.
almost 20-year-old Jeep.
You don't know the whole argument, Noonan. I said we should go 20,000 into my Jeep or brand new vehicle. We should just go nuts.
Well, or you can get one that's a year or two. You can get one that's a year or
Cody.
two, a couple years old. I
Uh-huh.
looked at pre-owned vehicles, as the kids
Yeah.
like to say, and we did that with Molly too. Molly looked at a bunch of pre-owned or ones at the dealership that are last year's model and stuff. I actually got it at the end of the year, when the new
Okay.
model was coming in. So it was
Okay.
technically the last year's model, but it was on the lot, so I got a good deal on it, which is a great. And Molly ended up buying a new car because all the ones that were pre-owned either had crazy high mileage on them, or the difference between the new one and the 1 or 2 year old ones that were technically new on the lot
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
so negligible. It was like, get a new one with the whole warranty on it.
So I bought my Jeep in Evanston, Illinois, outdoors at night, and it had problems from jump. This Jeep, like I've had to fix things on it every year, pretty much the entire time I've owned it, which is probably about 10 years. And so that's why I want either to go full bore and fix problems before they happen on my Jeep and spend all the money to totally restore it, or just buy a new car. That's not. I don't want a car that's going to periodically have problems like my last one did.
And if you get a new one, it's under warranty. Anything that could go wrong, and the transmission for 100,000 miles, all these places have great warranties. Unless you can find a 1 or 2 year old one that has, a good, an okay amount of miles, and and you go, okay, this is good, and you take it to your mechanic to look at it beforehand, and they say, yeah, this car's in good shape, and but I have no problem. I know
things.
I don't blame you. I don't want to fix things.
So I either want to fix, I want to fix all the things. Car that fixes nothing. Cody has been eerily silent this time.
I was not raised that way to buy new cars.
Nor was I.
Yeah, no, I grew up learning that a car loses half its value the minute you drive it off the lot. And to Brian, to your point, yeah, I think if you get at the tail end, if it's December 2020, you get a 2020 model. Okay, there's situations, and if there's not a lot of inventory with used vehicles, but the way they're building cars these days is changing too. Like, it used to be 100,000 miles, and then you're kind of at the end of the lifeline. Now, dude, you could drive a Subaru for 300,000 miles. Some cars are going 400,000 miles. So I saved. I just looked up.
You know what else you can drive? For a lot of miles, a Jeep Cherokee Country can go about 300,000 miles last, and we're at 2, baby. We got 100 left.
Yeah. So if you do math, then you can calculate roughly how much you would pay for the mileage, right? So $20,000 for 100,000 miles is not as good as 20,000 miles for 300,000 to 400,000 miles.
$20,000.
Yeah, $20,000. The look, I got you can get like a certified pre-owned or whatever. You get certified from these dealerships, all right? So I got a 2015 or 16 Subaru Outback. See, I don't even know, but like my car, let's say, is like 5 years older than the newest model. I saved myself 12 or 13 grand, and it didn't have any issues. It hasn't had any issues. We've had it for a year now. So, I'm a big proponent of just getting something a few years old. Make sure it works real good. Get it from an official dealership. If you want a Toyota, go to Toyota dealership. Get a Hyundai, go to the Honda dealership. They'll make sure that what you're getting is good. And usually it comes with perks that come with service. Like I get a bunch of free service done at my dealership. I get free car washes for life. Pretty sweet. But they're the guys that own the part.
This is a commercial now.
It is. Well, you could go to like Carvana and stuff. One of my brothers who was in the finance industry used to deal with car titles and stuff. And so when Molly was looking, he said, check Carvana, check a couple other sites. He said, certified pre-owned is good. You just don't want to buy from like some corner lot. You want to make sure you got something behind it. And I bought not my very first car, because my very first car was like a hand-me-down Oldsmobile Country Squire station wagon from my parents that I drove until, and I'm not exaggerating, the floorboards had rusted out under the driver's pedals and the backseat passenger pedals, and I used pieces of paneling to create a floor under the pedals. So it's not, when Cody says I didn't grow up he didn't grow up with the new car mentality. Obviously, I had the silver spoon in my mouth. I just didn't use it to fix my car. And then, but when it came time for me to buy a car, my very first car that I bought with my money was a brand new 1988 Chevy Cavalier, but I didn't have the money to get an automatic. So I had to get a manual transmission. It had no power, anything. The only thing I splurged on was an FM radio with cassette and air conditioning. Those were the two things.
Wow.
The two things. And I drove that car for 250,000 miles on the original clutch. I had to go to the junkyard twice and replace the seat. There was all kind of stuff. So, when I said that I bought a new car in 2013, I wasn't like, Hey, because
No,
every other car we
No.
had up to that point was a
Yeah.
pre-owned car. And I was like, you know what? I'm getting a car that I don't have to worry about for 5 years.
all I heard
Anything
is
that might happen. Because
Yeah.
there's nothing worse than going out to your car in the morning going, is this the day it's not going to start?
Yep. Yeah, that's terrible. All I heard
It's the worst.
all I heard this whole time is Brian is as fancy as Gwyneth Paltrow, who had to actually
That's true.
eat bread. She had to eat bread during the pandemic because she was very stressed out. That's the first time she's had bread in a while. So you guys are sort of equivalent. To me
Listen,
now,
Craig,
I'm triggered. I'm triggered by that.
I rarely have things in common with Gwyneth Paltrow. I
Yeah.
also have eaten a lot of extra carbs this year, which is troubling.
So you were off the
Trust me,
rails like she was?
I have to walk so far to find the rails again. It's going to take me a while to even think about getting on track. Why are you triggered, Cody? What happened?
You should have done a trigger warning, Craig. That is, I mean, who during the pandemic can say that anything worse happened to them than ending up eating bread?
No,
like what that woman suffered, through for our sins.
She also did something that few of us did. She drank a lot during the pandemic. I know that many of us didn't do that.
I love that's a huge story today. I can't believe that was such a big story. Gwyneth Paltrow ate carbs and drank. Yeah, guess what? She's human. We all ate carbs and drank. Debbie and I went through so much wine in the first few months of the pandemic. You would have thought we were Italian royalty. We were drinking wine like we were cast members in Lord of the Ring or what Game of Thrones instead of water. Like
the kind of people that buy new cars. I get what you're saying.
Buying new cars, drinking expensive wine.
Yeah.
Oh man, and by expensive I mean like $3 a bottle because I got that kind of coin rolling around.
Wow.
We did drink it out of really nice glasses though.
Goblets.
$3 wine goblets.
Were they goblets?
They were crystal Waterford goblets. Of course they were. I'm not a farmer.
They weren't metal with dragons, like pewter dragons etched on the side or anything like that.
No, but they were brought to me by disease-free servants who I wouldn't even let in the house. They would just bring it up and hold their hand through the patio door, and I would take the wine and drink it.
That's nice.
And then I'd lay around like Tyrion with a lot of hookers, which made Debbie even more upset than the fact that we were eating carbs and drinking. Yeah. So it was tough. Very tough.
Well, those are my topics for today, guys. Thank you.
I actually, for the first time, I think in my adult life, Brian, I paid attention to something happening this week.
What?
That was relevant.
Hold on, I'm spitting out ice.
That other people paid attention to, that people were talking about, that normal people were talking about, not just like my weird gamer friends.
What?
But an actual thing in the zeitgeist. Zeitgeist. Unzeitgeist.
What happened? Did you join the Nazi party? What's going on?
I don't know if that's actually German. It's probably not.
Mike wants to know where I put my jade egg. You don't want to know, Mike, but it's vibrating right now. Go ahead, Cody.
I think we all know now.
Well, you can guess, but I'm not telling.
I can't. No one can top that.
I want that out of my brain.
And on top of all this,
what is it, Cody? What was everybody talking about?
It also included. It required me to watch not just television, but live television.
Some people say that radio hosts from time to time, or any entertainer, builds a story up too much before getting to the punchline. I would never say that of what's happening right now. Some people say it.
I watched Saturday Night Live.
Wow.
I'm glad you did, because I have not yet. I haven't recorded. I haven't watched it.
I saw it.
The one time. Brian,
I want to hear your take.
Now I know how you feel every time you talk to me. Now I know. That's it.
He has a nerd reason to have done it, though, or whatever the right word is.
Yes.
Gave a reason.
His Doge boy was on there.
This is the only reason.
I don't own Dogecoin. I'm one of the cryptocurrency, like actual cryptocurrency people that just hates life right now, because I should be a millionaire, right now, but I'm not.
Yeah, because what did it's gone up like 2,000% or
something.
No,
it went back down after he appeared, though.
It doesn't matter if you'd bought $1,000 in Doge before, you'd have like $250,000 or something like that. It's just
hold on.
stupid.
Hold on.
Craig, if you had bought that, you could have bought 2 new Jeeps.
I know. I want to do this live. I just got a text from my real estate agent about the response to the. Should I do this live? Should I check it?
Well, it's up to you.
Okay.
We'd love to
I don't know. I'm on the phone, so this is going to be terrible.
All right.
All right.
I
forwarded you the response. I forwarded you the seller response to the repair amendment to review. So it's an email. So I have to get my email now. I can do this on another computer. Do we want to find out what they said?
How could we not after talking about it? If you're willing to share, I think I speak for myself.
Wait, Craig, did you watch the Saturday? Did you watch SNL, Craig?
I did, yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. All right, well, great. And we can talk about it once.
Can I ask you this, Cody?
Yeah.
Why were you forced to watch it live? Don't you have a DVR or anything at your house with all your technology?
I was in Madison this weekend.
Oh.
Actually, yeah, big news. My son spent his first overnight with not mom and dad.
Oh, wow.
Oh.
Yeah.
How did that go?
It actually went exceptionally well. He's a great kid.
Because he doesn't like you. That came out wrong. It shouldn't have come out.
Wow.
Well,
I know, that was me.
My friends and I were talking about visiting because I got a bunch of close friends in Madison that when it come up, we just kind of threw out a date, and it was this weekend. And then and I was like, well, I can ask my parents to babysit. Then I realized it was Mother's Day yesterday.
Yeah.
I called up my dad and I was like, hey, Dad, look, some of my buddies kind of want to hang out on Mother's Day weekend. You know, I was thinking of asking you and Mom to babysit your grandkid if you wanted, but then I realized it's Mother's Day. I don't want to ask you to babysit on Mother's Day. And he was just like, are you kidding? You bring that kid here. We want that kid here. You do whatever you want. We didn't even care. They were all about it. So I was like, if you're sure, dude. So we brought him in Saturday afternoon. He was super chill, hung out all night.
Nice.
We got back the next morning, brought him over to my sister's for a little Mother's Day barbecue. It all went out without a hitch. They had a blast. It sounds like he slept well. He slept almost through the night, basically. So yeah, it all went well. It's nice. It's liberating as a newer parent, Brian. I'm sure you can relate that, knowing that that's possible. You know, there's
no, it's terrific. Yeah, to think that you can go out, and I mean, it was great that your mom and dad did that because he knows your mom and dad, so it's not awful for as a kid to go, oh, my mom and dad are leaving me with some stranger. He's with grandma and grandpa, and that's cool. But had he ever slept outside of your house, like outside of his room?
Yeah, because we've traveled.
Oh, you guys have been with him, at their house, right, at the holidays.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so
that's nice to know. Craig is either having diarrhea or which we got to get to your story about last week, Cody, after, but this does not sound good.
Sure, let's do it, Craig.
No, it's fine. Let's do other stuff. Let's talk about other things. I'm not happy. I did not enjoy that. This was not a fun read.
Wow. Did they say no to everything?
Muffins.
You don't have to get into specifics.
Actually, they said yes to almost everything we're asking for. However, the thing they do, or at least to negotiating some sort of split of costs, is the very expensive repair of the chimney. And we wanted a house that contained a chimney. I feel like we shouldn't pay any amount of money to fix it, because we kind of offered them the price of the house, assuming it was an operable chimney. But they said yes to a lot of smaller fixes, and then no.
Well, yeah, the big one, but the big one is the one you needed.
Yeah,
the big one's what you wanted.
If they had actually done this in reverse, if they had said no to all the small fixes and then fully took the chimney, I think we would have been okay. They did not go that road. So, so yeah, that's a negative. I don't understand. All right, hey, what were we saying? What are we talking about? Something else we were talking about.
What are we talking? Oh, Cody abandoning his child. No, leaving. I did see your son doing yoga moves, so you've lost the social media argument.
I didn't see that, so I guess that's happening in secret.
Nice. It was very
secret.
Nice. Well, it's good that you were able to. It was good that he was able to go there, and it's nice that he gets along with your mom and dad. And as I can see, your dad's reaction was hilarious and completely not a surprise to say, "Yeah, just bring that baby over here." Well, your mom's had a lot of Mother's Day. Now she gets a Mother's Day as a grandmom. So
Mhm.
she was probably over the moon, as the kids like to say. Here's Ken saying this to Craig. Now the sellers will need to declare the chimney issue for any new buyers. That is a point for negotiations. Yeah. So you go, hey man, we're willing to walk away, even if you're not.
Okay.
And
yeah,
so now you're going to have to.
We are willing to walk away because I'm very willing to walk away, and it's my gauge right now. So I hope that the wife understands. I haven't had that. Oh, my muffins. Oh, muffins.
Uh,
Hey, how are you? Hey, hi. How you doing?
No, that's okay. Do you need to go talk to Betty and come back?
No, a long time ago, I replaced curse words in my vocabulary with muffins.
Is that right?
I tried. This was in high school, I think, because I was cursing too much. And now curse words have come back. I use them all the time. But when I get super mad, I go back to muffins. So this is a thing I do.
Well, because I would imagine you'd be unleashing a stream of profanities.
Yeah, that's why I'd like to do that. That's why I don't blame you. Not allowed here. Yeah, I can't believe this. I'm dumbfounded by the way that house purchasing works. Because if you purchase a home, you expect the things within it to be, repaired and functioning. And the biggest, most expensive repair, they don't want to do it. I didn't think they could say no.
Well, of course they can.
Yeah. Okay. Now, Craig, I mentioned this on a previously on the Quarantine Cast with Brian and Cody before you or whatever. When we had the chimney guy come, we had a chimney guy come out to do a chimney sweep because we didn't want to light a fire in our house, not knowing if it would billow into the home. And so we get the chimney sweep. They come and do it. They go, hey, there's a couple structural issues, and we had to pay a couple $grand to get it back in working order. But what he said was, he's like, there's a lot of times where new homeowners, just like you, first-time homeowners, they didn't get an inspection. We do an inspection and then we do the sweep, and then we're like, hey, look, it's going to cost $14,000 to fix this. And then the new homeowners typically at that point just don't have a chimney. And that's why you end up with like candles in the chimney, in the fireplace and stuff. So this is a kind of a normal thing, and it's actually really good that you got the chimney inspection, because he specifically said a lot of people don't do that. So at least now you know what you're getting into.
When we bought our house in California, we did not have a chimney inspection, and we never used the fireplace because we were in California, and so we just didn't use the fireplace. So then we were selling the house, and they inspected the fireplace, and they went, "Ooh, there's some issues here," but the person buying the house was a realtor who ended up losing the house like 6 months after he bought it from us.
Gotcha.
But the point was he was like, nah, that's okay. We're just going to let that slide. And I couldn't believe it. We were so lucky, but yeah, Cody's right. This is something you're lucky you found.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And
so
two,
right.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing that frustrates me. So the house had been on the market for like 100 days. They originally had the asking price $23,000 higher than the number they settled on. We only went $2,000 under their current asking price, and they took our offer. I feel like we basically paid sticker price for the house. I know that that's not how this works, so I don't want to fix stuff. We paid sticker. We didn't go $10,000 under your asking price, and now we found issues, and now we won't pay them. We pretty much came to the number you put on the front door. And now I don't want to spend more money.
No, and the other thing is, it's going to come down to they're going to do an appraisal. And if the appraisal shows that this fireplace is an issue, it's not going to come in. It might not come in at the price that they're asking. And then the whole deal is screwed anyway.
Gotcha.
But you don't lose your earnest money. You lose any of that because, hey man, you didn't disclose that there was this kind of issue. And we're not getting saddled with it.
No. Yeah, that is true. I am not. It was literally one of the only bucket items Betty had for a home is that they had a fire. She wanted it a brick house and a fireplace. Those are the only two things she wanted. And I wanted a basement. Not even a fully finished one, but some kind of basement to put my equipment in. That's all we want in a home, guys. And they failed us. Fact.
It sounds like it. And you know what? They probably know. Maybe they knew something was wrong with the chimney and the fireplace. Maybe they didn't, But either way, it's like, hey, either you're gonna fix it or we're taking this much off the purchase price.
I realized I haven't been on the show now in a week since the inspection. Did I tell? I don't think I told the listeners. Did I tell you guys that they found dog hair everywhere, including like inside the furnace because they had a lot of dogs. So like there's dog hair everywhere, and we asked to have that cleaned. I see no mention of that in this. That they don't seem to be willing to have the HVAC and everything fully cleaned either.
They're not going to vacuum their house.
Well, that's a good thing you don't have a cat, because the cat would be afraid it'd get eaten the whole time by the dog hair.
All right.
I'm so funny.
I'm good.
So funny.
I think you guys, Noonan and Cody, you were talking about the Saturday Night Live. We were talking about other stuff. What are we doing? We doing a radio?
We were talking about me going to Madison. Actually, we did another topic while you were distracted by the downfall. Yeah,
we'll get back to the SNL. Cody abandoned his child for a weekend.
Oh, but that's why we watched SNL live, because we're all hanging out, and we're like, hey, let's watch SNL. So we did, and it was great. It was great.
Gotcha.
But
was it great? Now I've heard different things. I've heard the fashionable thing has been to bash Elon Musk. And you know, there were stories before it came out that some of the cast members were against it, and it was like the featured players. It was the most untalented people on the cast, and you know, but so I've heard it was bad, and then I've heard other people go, no, it was okay. I just read an article before we came on. People were angry at Michael Che because he wrote the Gen Z hospital sketch, and they thought he was making fun of some sort of African American vernacular society or something. And he was like, I had to Google that. I didn't even know what that was. But I guess I've offended them. So you know what? I'm sorry. That was just mean of me to do that. So I don't know. When did he admit he had Asperger's in the monologue?
The monologue.
It was like the
so for not watching it, I still have a lot of facts about it.
Of course, as you do, you have your nut on the crack of humanity.
Dude, I put my nut on cracks all the time. And you know,
we need
it pays
that
off.
Bumper sticker. We desperately need that Brian Noonan Show bumper sticker. The nut on the crack of humanity. The Brian Noonan
This is
Show.
why our realities vary.
My friends and I were thoroughly entertained. We were roaring at the monologue. There were great jokes. A couple, there were some stinker sketches, as there always are with SNL. But there were some really funny ones. There's one that was just called Every Conversation You've Had Since the Pandemic Started. And it is, I have watched it 6 times. I've shared it with friends. Like, it's so good. The Weekend Update was pretty good. But I thought the monologue was hilarious. I thought it was really good. He was well delivered. It was well written. I gave the episode like an A- probably.
Wow.
I thought it was quite good. I was very entertained.
Correct.
I would say for all the people that thought it was bad that Elon Musk was hosting the show, and all the people that pointed out, that he's one of the few that is not a actor, entertainer of some kind, or famous athlete, or even musician, that he did a tremendously good job. I think that Elon Musk was humorous and funny on his own within the bits that he was put in. So yeah, I was surprised that he did so well compared to some people who probably should be better at hosting than he is. And I agree that the show overall, I thought, was a pretty funny episode.
I got the impression he was happy to be there and he was into it. Like, I did not at any point in time think like, oh, he's phoning it in. It's kind of whatever. I mean, this is literally the second richest person on the planet. He's putting people in space. He's like inventing electric car technology. And he's willing to go on SNL and dress up like Wario from Super Mario Brothers and walk around with this funny walk. And I mean, like, he seemed like he was having fun, and that was contagious, I think. And that, like, you wouldn't see Jeff Bezos do that. My God, can you imagine? Like,
he has a new super yacht.
I don't like him. He's not a likable person. See, Elon, I know, says things that like bother people, but his monologue did such a good job of like, it was a funny way to directly address almost every criticism that's been leveled at him. Like he talks about like, look, I invent electric cars. I'm sending people to space. Did you expect me to be normal? you know, like, and just his deadpan delivery. And it's like everything he says, you're like, he has a really good point. And it's delivered well. So yeah, I just thought it was quite good. I think you'll enjoy it. And I'm looking
I'm
forward
looking
to
forward to
hearing
watching it. We didn't get to it Sunday because it was Mother's Day. And last night we didn't. I don't know why we didn't watch it. Oh, because it's for our Monday routine during dinner is to watch Last Week Tonight with John Oliver.
Oh,
so
what did he talk about this week?
Black hair.
Oh, wait, he's like 5 years late on that.
Well, no, it was an ongoing. It was a culmination of a lot of things with the black hair.
Okay.
And he had a very funny thing with Craig. Oh boy,
Yeah,
Craig Robinson. Craig Robinson and Leslie
Bibb
from Saturday Night Live.
Oh,
Leslie Jones, Craig Robinson, and I forget the other woman. And they were talking about they were answering questions about black hair. It was very funny.
Yeah.
So I will watch the Elon Musk episode. How'd my girl Miley do? I always, to be honest, I fast forward through the musical acts because I don't know.
She opened the show.
Really?
She was the first one. Yes, she opened the show singing to all the moms.
Oh,
really?
Yeah. That was weird.
That was the opening sketch. She sang a song, and then you saw actor and mom, and they did a little joke thing, and then back to Miley singing a song. I thought that was okay.
Did they bring all the moms out like they used to do?
They did it more individually, but yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they did a group thing. And the other, to your point, Brian, about Elon cast members being mad, I watched Elon very closely at the closing credits, you know, when they play everybody off and everyone's on stage, because of what you said. Because you've said this, you said it last week, you mentioned it. So I watched him the whole time to see if he interacted with other cast members. And yeah, like they were like shaking his hand and like chatting with him and just bending over so you can hear him and stuff. And like I thought it was good,
well,
you know?
It came out later as it got closer to the show that the head writer and all the writers were like, yeah, and the main cast members like, yeah, we got no problem with Elon Musk. It was, Bo and Yang, who could not suck harder on Saturday Night Live if he actually tried.
Well, I think Bo and Yang's been quite funny outside of I think he's been funny at times.
Do you really think Bo and Yang is funny?
Yes. I thought the iceberg Titanic thing was legitimately hilarious.
Yeah, but you're also willing to pay $20,000 to rehab a Jeep that everybody else says to set on fire. So I never
said in one off. I envisioned that happening over the course of several years.
So you're going to pay for years on a 2016 Jeep or a 296 Jeep.
I want to keep it for a long time. Anyway, Bo and Yang has been funny at times.
He wasn't even on the episode, was he?
Probably
I don't remember him in a
I don't
single
remember
sketch.
him in a single,
No, he probably pulled
him.
the Nora Dunn, but nobody cared. Nobody missed him. He's like, oh, where's that Bo and Yang? Who cares? Nobody.
I mean, everyone knows.
Nobody cares about Bo and Yang.
The breakout star of SNL's Rachel McKinnon.
Ray Dawn Chong?
No, McKinnon. What's her name?
Kate
McKinnon. Yeah,
she's been the breakout star for years now. Yes.
I don't know. It's a tie between her and Keenan. Those two are.
Keenan can't be a breakout star of the Saturday Night Live.
No.
Keenan's been on Saturday Night Live for 1 million years.
For 28 years. Keenan
He's
actually
not a breakout star.
Keenan is actually Garrett Morris. Keenan has been on since the beginning.
Wow. Yes.
Yeah. Since the very first time. Keenan Thompson is hilarious. Kate McKinnon is hilarious.
Yeah.
Those,
Bo and Yang's pretty funny.
Bo and Yang is not fit to tie my shoes, and I'm wearing slip-ons. There's nothing I find humorous about Bo and Yang. If I were Elvis, I would have shot out 72 televisions by now.
Wow.
Just when Bo and Yang comes on. You guys know the story of Elvis.
Yeah.
Shooting out the TV when Robert Goulet came on.
He was a singer. Right?
Elvis was a singer.
Where was it?
Wow.
Where is the reference? I can't find it.
Is there a fly?
It's somewhere over my head. The reference is
Craig's trying to catch the references. Yeah. I'm like this generation's Dennis Miller, except more, not politically psychotic. Because I remember, but Elvis, it's a famous story. He's in his house watching television and he hated Robert Goulet. Hated him. So Robert Goulet came on the television and Elvis shot his television set.
That's amazing.
That was the story.
Yes.
Are you pointing to your emails, telling Betty to read the email?
Yes, I was, Noonan. I think can I take a 15-minute hiatus from the show?
Yes. Why don't you go and talk to Betty and then come back after you guys have settled your business?
I promise to be back in the next half hour.
Come back and see us after you. But this is important life stuff.
Good talk. Bye-bye.
All right. Goodbye.
Our realtor would have advised us quite a lot on the home buying process. I would recommend him to anybody watching. So let me know if you need a realtor.
What do you think your realtor would have said if you were in Craig's position right now? Knowing what you know about how much chimney work costs, and we don't know the extent of Craig's. He said it sounded pretty bad. It seemed pretty bad.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, based on what the chimney sweep guys said, they said they've walked into places and it's been like $14,000. So let's assume 5 digits, right?
Yeah.
So it's an extra 10 grand. They asked a couple grand and are asking. It's not like if they accepted the first offer and they didn't negotiate, then clearly it was a good offer. And
yeah, they were happy. They were happy to get it because the house had been, like you said, the house had been on the market for over 100 days. So they were happy to get an offer. So now it's like, okay, how happy are you to get this offer? Because if we walk away, you start over. If we take another 8 to 10 grand off, so that we can fix this chimney deal, you're still selling your house. You're out from under. What do you want to do?
Yeah, I mean, he would probably say there's no. Well, first of all, you don't really know what you want in a house till you live in one. Like we were like, master bathroom optional, and now after having lived here, now I regret that. Like I want a master bathroom.
Master bathrooms. I've had both. I mean, technically my bathroom is 2 steps outside of my bedroom. So it's fine, but I live in an older house in the city. But like he said, the fireplace was one of the brick.
He did.
Brick exterior and fireplace and a basement. Those sounded like the 3 deal breakers.
So that's a deal breaker, then
yeah,
it might break the deal, I guess.
Well, and it's one of those things where it wasn't disclosed beforehand, so I don't think it will affect the earnest money if they decide to walk away, because it's like, hey, this is a repair that we were not prepared to pay for, and you are not willing to work with us on. So, it's a really tough situation because, I mean, you've been in this situation. I've been in this situation where you really like a house and you're like, oh, I really like this one, but it's just too much. There's going to be another one. But I also know when you're in a situation, when you're paying for a hotel or you're renting something because you're waiting to move in, you want to move in as quickly as possible, But I think Craig is like us in the way that we're not, you and I wouldn't toss away 10 to 15 grand.
Yeah, I mean, we were kind of we weren't under a time crunch. I mean, we were, but we didn't have to move right away. But we knew that my wife was pregnant, and we were 2 or 3 months in. So it was like, all right, we got 6 months to move because we are not going to have a baby and bring him back to a 1-bedroom apartment next to a train during a pandemic.
Fair enough.
Not really a way to stay sane and not murder each other. I'd be dead by now. No, that's not true. My wife's a saint, but I should be dead. But I'm not any of those things. So yeah, part of it, because we closed in like March, right after the pandemic started. So, and that was when they started to take houses off the market. So we paid more than we wanted and less than they wanted, but we did find a happy medium, and it worked out. And there was a little bit of like, come on, let's go happening. So, if he wants to be in a place in 30 days, it's like, well, maybe they just say we're going to get a new fireplace down the line, but they also need a new car. So it's like, how many major expenses can we handle? And I don't know about like homeowners loans. Do you want to,
at some point, when you're buying a house, you're committing a large chunk, if not all of your saving. You know, this is, you've been saving for this. There it is. And there's, you know, maybe a little extra here and there, but when you got to get a car and you got to get, you know, like as much as a pain in the ass as it was for you with the dishwasher, it's not replacing your chimney, you know, it's not having to put new floors in or foundation work or whatever. It was, you know, it was a hassle and it's a few $100 and, you know, your experience was not ideal at all for that, but.
And we just replaced our over-the-range microwave last week.
Oh, how did that happen?
Because it just blew out.
Oh, God.
Casey brought home some tacos a couple weeks ago, and I like popped some tacos in the microwave, hit the 30-second button, boom, microwave 30 seconds. Cool. Open the door, touch them. I'm like, they're not hot enough. Close the door, hit the start 30 seconds again. 2 seconds later, it's like, boom. Done. Just off.
Oh,
nothing.
Well, I'm going to turn this light on.
Yeah, it's a little dark in there.
Yeah, very dark.
Oh, very nice.
Very dark in here.
That's much better. Yeah. Don't know. So because part of it's like, did I put metal in? Was there metal in there? But
wait,
no.
You put metal in your microwave?
No. What I'm saying is, like, I know that I didn't put anything in there by accident because there was a successful 30-second microwave immediately preceding the microwave blowout, and tried different outlets. All that stuff is like whatever. So what the heck? So that's 2 appliances in the kitchen that we've replaced in the first year.
Did you have to? Did you have somebody come and put it in?
Yeah,
because at our house in Frankfurt, our one blew out. And I was like, oh, at that point, it was like, I don't want to go get a new microwave right now. So I went down to the basement where we had one from before in the crawl space, and I just brought it up and put it on the counter. So we used the old one.
That's what we did while we were waiting.
Yeah.
Apparently we brought our microwave from our old apartment for some reason. So we had a microwave in the basement. So once they installed the new one, I just brought that sucker back down. So we always
exactly. As long as you have a microwave. My mom calls me the other day, and I told you last week that she dislocated her shoulder, and it's been whole thing. We're trying to figure out what's going on. So today with the microwave, she calls me, I don't know, Friday, because I was cutting the grass. The week before, when I was cutting the grass, she called to tell me she had been in the hospital and hadn't called us. This week, I'm cutting the grass, and I get a call, and she won't just come right out and ask me something. It's like, what stores are near you? Like, what do you mean? What do you mean? What stores are? Well, I want to know what stores are near you. I'm like, why? What kind of stores? There's a Jewel here. There's a 7-Eleven. What kind of stores? Well, I need to get a new microwave. I need to get a microwave. I'm like, why? What happened to your microwave? Because she has a built-in one too above her stove. Well, I was cooking something last night, and I was able to get it in the microwave because her right arm she can't lift. She can't move it, so she's working with her left hand. She got it in the microwave. Then it was done, and she tried to get it out with her grabber. She's got one of those claw deals on the handle, like to get cans off the top shelves and stuff.
Yeah.
Well, she microwaved a little frozen dinner. Well, that's giant claw thing couldn't grab the little dinner. So I guess she said it pulled to the edge. And she reached up with her left hand to try to get it, but she couldn't. It was hot, and it fell, and it splattered everywhere. And she said it didn't get on me because it was really hot. That's good. She said it splattered all over the stove. So I cleaned it up, but I need a microwave. And I said, well, Mom, as luck would have it, I'm looking at a microwave right now. Because Molly had a countertop microwave in New Orleans.
Mm-hmm.
She brought it back to our house. We were going to sell it or donate it. We haven't yet. She's got a built-in one in her apartment. I said, I've got Molly's microwave right here. And I said, we were going to sell it or donate it. So I'll bring it to your house, and you can you can use it until you don't need it. And then we'll sell it or donate it after that. I don't know. I was going to have you go to Best Buy or Walmart. And I said, why would you spend money when I'm telling you I've got a microwave within 6 feet of me? Literally, it was 6 feet away from me in the garage. So long story short, or long story shorthand, we took the microwave out to her house on Mother's Day. And so now I don't know if she's used it yet, but today I get a text. So we knew today she had an orthopedic doctor's appointment, and they were going to tell her, I guess, whether she needed surgery or rehab or whatever they're going to do with the shoulder. My aunt was going to take her, which was fine. Everybody knew this was all up front. We all knew it was happening. So, but I get a text from my mom. Your cousin had to bring me home because my aunt fell off the curb going into the hospital. And they had to take her to urgent care because they didn't know if she had broken her wrist or fractured her knee. I texted my mom back. I said, I think it's time for you old ladies to just stay home because this is not working out. So thankfully, my aunt is fine. I got a text right before we started that my aunt was fine. She was just bruised and they told her to ice it and take ibuprofen. So thank God my aunt is fine. But so now, one of my brothers or I will be taking my mom to the next doctor's appointment because I don't think my aunt should have to take her anymore.
I don't think she should have been the one at the hospital the last time, and neither do you.
Well, what you
really need to do, you got to stop mowing your lawn, Brian. That's the problem.
You know what, Cody? That makes sense. Or switch the days because so far it's been 2 Fridays in a row that I've been cutting the grass. And but I like the way the grass looks when it's cut. I enjoy it. Have you been cutting your grass with your new battery-operated mower?
Well, I cut the front yard a couple weeks ago. Last weekend, we're out of town, and I haven't had time to do it during the week. So the front lawn is a little overgrown. Back lawn haven't mowed yet.
At all?
No, it's quite the jungle out there. It's very nice. It has a wild, overgrown look.
Maybe there's something living in there.
There's lots of things living in there. No, I'm going to cut it this week. Before the weekend, but we were out of lawn bags, and when I did the front a couple weeks ago, it filled up the lawn bag. I don't mulch it; I bag it.
I bag it as well.
Yeah. So the lawn bag was full, and I was like, "Well, I don't have any lawn bags to dump the clippings into to take out." So anyway, now we have lawn bags. Now I can go, but I got to empty it, do the front, empty it again, I'm gonna have to empty it twice in the back.
Oh,
it's just a lot. There's a lot.
And it's going to rain. If it rains, then it's even, oh boy, you're in trouble. Can I give you a little homeowner's tip? I don't know if you have one of these. I used to not have to, at the old houses, we would just put our grass clip. We had a dumpster, a garbage can that was just for grass clippings. So we didn't have to use the bags. I got here, and in the city, they make you use the bags. I went to Home Depot and I got this foldable chute that keeps the lawn bag open. And you pour the grass, it hits this chute, it drops down. It's a plastic, it comes like this, then it opens into like a U shape and it folds out. So there's a chute and the 3 sides are keeping the bag open. So you don't have to you don't have to wrestle with the yard bag. It was
smart.
like $4. It was unbelievably cheap. And they have them. I got mine at Home Depot. I think they have them at all the hardware stores. And it is, it was the best investment I ever made for under $5. Unbelievable. Now I don't have to worry. I'm not spilling grass everywhere. The bag's not collapsing. I'm like, look at me.
Perfect. Can't wait. I will check that out for sure.
You got to go. You got to do yourself a favor. Maybe I'll bring you one as a housewarming gift.
Oh, perfect. I got an edger for the first time.
Ooh,
yeah,
nice.
We needed, last summer, when we moved in, we were a little overwhelmed with all the stuff we had to do and third trimester pregnancy, etc. So we paid a couple of high school kids to do our lawn for the first 2.5, 3 months we were here before I got the mower. So they handled all the fine tuning, but I didn't have an edger, so I just got an edger. So that's in the garage. So this week, probably tomorrow or Thursday, I've got to do the lawn mowing and edging and all that. Do you use an edger for stuff?
I have a weed whacker that flips into an edger. So yes, I've had the solo edger in the past. I like the weed whacker one because once you do, if you're really overgrown, once you do a hardcore edging once and cut all the dirt and stuff out to the right height. Then all you need is one of those weed whackers with an adjustable head, and you just and you're good to go.
Did you know that a weed whacker is officially called a string trimmer?
String trimmer, sure. Well, there was a weed whacker. One of the first brands, I think, is Weed Whacker. They're string trim. It's like Kleenex, you know. So yes, a string trimmer. Do you have a string trimmer? Is that what you have, or you have an edger?
I guess I have a. I think it's a. Is there a difference?
Well, an edger has has a steel blade, and it's just for edging. A string trimmer, you can, like mine is, the head can be flat for trimming the weeds and things, or it can turn on the side so I can do a straight line for edging.
No idea.
Okay.
I ordered it from Greenworks. I got it online because that's my.
What happens when you buy things? Do you? How do you make a decision on what to purchase?
I think I Googled Weed Whacker, realized it's called string trimmer.
String trimmer.
Searched for Weed Whacker on Greenworks. They only had like 2 models, 60 volt, 80 volt. Okay. I got 60 volt batteries for my lawnmower and my leaf blower and my hell else I got. Greenworks is my lawn maintenance tool brand, and then DeWalt is my power tool brand. So,
okay.
Yeah.
I have a Black & Decker now with the string trimmer, because I've gone through different kinds. I used to have an electric one, and I didn't like it because I hate the cord. Then I bought a gas-powered one, and it was the biggest pain in the ass I'd ever encountered. It was really long, so I didn't have to bend over, which was nice, but it never started. So it was more. Now I've got a battery-operated Black & Decker. Man, I've had it for a number of years. I could not be happier with it. It's phenomenal. I keep the battery plugged in all the time. Even if I only use it for 10 minutes, I plug the battery back in. So every time I walk out, slap that battery in, and boom, we're ready to go. I've had to replace the little plastic cap over the string a couple of times. Obviously you got to get new spools of string, but man, I'm fine with it. I'm ready to go. I love it. But you got to cut that back grass, because the reason my dad put up a fence when I was too young to remember it, he hated cutting the grass. And I guess our grass in the back, because my parents live on my mom still lives there, a giant corner lot. And my dad hated cutting the grass because he never really would spring for a good lawnmower. It was always really small, cheap, like electric ones, or ones that were, like a 10-inch path, and we're on this corner lot with a giant backyard, and it was like, so he would just not cut the grass, and the neighbors would get mad, and they'd throw bags of grass clippings, and he was like, screw this. So instead of cutting the grass, he just bought a fence, and he bought this giant fence around the backyard. And one time, because the lawnmowers were always cheap and they would always break.
Yeah.
And one summer we were without a lawnmower, and he had gotten like halfway through the backyard before the lawnmower broke. And then it was getting fixed, or he was getting another. I don't remember the whole thing, but half of the lawn was cut. And then the other half had gotten to the point where, I'm not exaggerating, it had to be 2 feet tall. It was going to seed. It was like we were living on a prairie out in the middle of nowhere. It was insanity. Wow. Yeah. And then it got to the point where I got old enough to cut the grass. Then it was my job. And it was always like, now I love to cut the grass, because I go out and I know after I push my choke 7 times on my lawnmower, one pull, it's going to start. And it does. And it's so nice. It's like what I was talking about with Craig with the car. You don't want to worry every time you need to start something. You want to be able to just use it. So, I like it. That's why I try to get that grass cut as soon as. Oh, we got to find out. Look who's back. Look who's back.
I don't know if I can hear.
Wow, he's changed his room. He's changed his microphone. He's changed his shirt.
That's weird.
I can't hear anybody. This is not good.
He didn't
This
even
is
talk
not good at all.
He didn't even talk to
I'm
Betty.
here. I hear nobody. Oh wait, maybe it's that button.
We hear you.
And I'll
We hear you
things a little bit
plenty.
better.
We're hearing
I don't know
you
if that's true.
nonstop.
This is fun. This is fun. I have no idea what you guys sound like.
Wow, we hear you.
Oh, I hear you.
There you go. Wait a minute. Did you get thrown out of your room?
No, I'm in my room still.
What kind of mic is that?
It's a different view than you had before.
Heil PR40. No, it's the same view. It's just everything went down. Same view. Oh. I moved my camera a little bit. Hey, there's Peoria outside.
Oh, the jewel of the Midwest.
I also switched a lot of things, so I'm back on I got this to work. How does my video look now, gentlemen?
Everything looks. That's why I think you're in a different place. Because
I'm in the same place.
This is the view you had last week or 2 weeks ago. It looks like it, and then before you looked like you were in a different, like I'm not going to show around.
You. Betty's on the bed. I'm not going to show you that. Although she
are
is
you still
clothed.
In the suite you were in before?
Yes, I'm in the same place. Everything's the same.
Doesn't look right.
Craig, your camera looks fine, but you're hideous. So how do we?
I don't know.
I'm just kidding. You're beautiful.
I imagine a bunch of plastic surgery. I am not a happy human. Yeah. I am not a happy guy.
How'd that conversation go?
No, fine. Betty's on page me, so we're good. Our relationship is wonderful, guys. We are totally fine. She loved the house, she did, but she also was under the impression that houses have to be relatively repaired for purchases to make sense, and ours is maybe not. So
are they? So they came back with this. Are you gonna like?
I went back hard. I sent the email already.
So did you tell them? Listen, that's fine. You don't have to pay for it, but we're dropping our offer by that much.
No. Are those better words to have chosen? I could read you guys what I wrote, but I'm not sure that everyone wants to hear this.
I do.
I think I was polite. I think I was
polite.
Well,
this is who is this email to? Your realtor? Or
my real estate agent.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. Well, that's
yeah. I did say that she can forward whatever she wants via text, but
Craig, Mike said in the chat that your sellers are douche canoes.
Mike is absolutely right.
Absolutely right. Also, real quick, before we get more into this tragedy, Christine asked, "What about my illness from last week?"
Yes, we got to get to this. I've teased this because Craig, you weren't here last week. Cody was struck down early in the broadcast. Okay. About 20 minutes in, you experienced some horrible abdominal pains.
Yeah.
You were forced to sit down, and then later in the broadcast, you were overcome, and we shut things down early. I had predicted that you were just going to fart extensively and everything would be okay. What happened?
I did go to my bed and farted a couple times in a very short order. I went directly there. Did not pass go. Do not do anything that will prevent you from farting. I don't know. I kind of like writhed for a few minutes, and then I think I went downstairs to my couch for a little bit more. But mostly I just had to lay down and just find a comfortable position, and it was pretty much gas. I don't know what happened. We had Trader Joe's ravioli. I have eaten Trader Joe's ravioli 2,000 times. I never had a stomach ache. I don't know what it was. We had some truffle oil. Maybe I don't know. I don't know what happened, but it just was a horrible stomach ache. That was like it was worse than a stomach ache. It was like a shooting pain. And it was fine after. But I literally, like you said, I literally had to sit down 20 minutes in. And then the next morning I felt fine. So whatever it was, it got better after a couple hours. But man, I was I was unable to continue, which is.
Do you think it was rancid truffle oil?
I don't know, man. I don't know. It was very weird. Thank you for asking about it, Christine. And total fluke, I guess. I don't know. I hope it doesn't happen again. It's very uncomfortable. Really didn't like it.
This is not a pain or an experience you've ever had before in your life?
I mean, we've all had stomach aches, right? Or like we're really gassy and it's just whatever.
My sister once had a stomach ache so bad she went to the emergency room, and it was an awkward moment for the rest of the family when she was diagnosed with a stomach ache and sent home because there's nothing they could do to improve it. But she did, at least once in her life, demand the ER before we eventually found out that it was, what it was.
I've had people in my family who have gotten that. That's why they always have Gas X in the house.
I did not fall off the chair, Marta, by the way, and I don't have any Gas X in the house. I'm trying to fix a technical issue that you can't tell is a thing, but I can tell it's a thing. Oh. And I am obsessed with technical things, and I don't know why this thing is occurring. And if I explain it, it's going to bore everybody.
There's a little thing on the back of. Is this just some weird thing on your video? It's like a white. Yeah. It's almost like the ampersand with a. No, it looks like it's on the bottom of your mic.
Yeah, very
Like
bottom middle.
where your cord comes into your mic. I don't know if it's just on your video.
Oh yeah. That might be the program I'm using. Maybe I have to pay for this.
Okay. Yeah.
It's called
I was like,
Epoch Cam. I'm using my cell phone camera instead of connecting an
Wow.
HD cam because
Okay.
my cell phone camera is better quality than an HD camera at this point now.
you're fancy.
But Epoch Cam is an app for iPhones, and maybe that logo is
Oh,
what
that
it
might be
forces
that
on
thing.
there. Because it is telling me to buy the Pro version, and I'm
sure.
ignoring all that.
Yeah, don't buy it. Linda says that usually that intense pain is an appendicitis. When I had that pain, horrible abdominal pain right in the middle, it ended up being that's when I had diverticulitis. But I'm glad you were able to just fart it out.
Googling all these things.
Diverticulitis is little pockets that form in your intestine and things get caught in.
Did you Google appendicitis? Did you have to Google that?
I'm closing all of these windows. I feel fine and refuse to.
Don't go down the rabbit hole of
Yeah, don't do that.
Internet medicine.
I had an appendectomy.
I have leprosy.
I had an appendectomy.
Did you really?
Yeah, I had it at the end of a Nick D show. I don't know if it was his fault. Maybe I should blame him. I was on my way home on the bus at like whatever that time would be, 3:00 in the morning. And my pain in my stomach had lasted throughout the entire show. Didn't complain like a trooper. And then I got home. I woke up the missus. I'm like, I have a lot of pain going on. I went to the emergency room. It was by the next morning that they had ripped out my appendix, which was not fun. Yeah. And the place I went, by the way, I don't need to name them in Chicago because I think that's mean. Milt Rosenberg thought it was a terrible decision when I told him that following weekend. I'm like, this is the hospital I chose. He goes, oh, that's one of the worst ones you could have possibly chosen. I was like, how do I fix that now, Milt? This is a phone call I probably should have made. Yeah. But I had one.
Would you say, Craig, that was in would that have made your top 10 appendicitis removal surgery operations?
Yeah, I think it did.
Okay.
It might have caused all my hernias that I've had now because of the way they did it.
Coming off the Nick D show, I just figured I would just ask.
That was nice. That was well done. Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, I see what you
Yeah.
did.
So his top 10 story. Yep. Mm-hmm.
A lot of lists.
Yeah. I got a hernia in the area where they took out the appendix. And then I got a hernia in the area where I got a hernia down there. And then they went in my belly button to repair that one. And now I got a hernia in my belly button that hasn't gone away after 2 tries to fix it.
Good Lord.
Top 10 hernias. Let's go.
How are you not sitting on some medical malpractice money?
I don't know. Can I sue for that kind? I thought you signed papers that's like, yeah, if we cut you too deep, that's on you. I thought that's how that worked.
I don't know. Listen, there's a lot of lawyers who are just right now they're listening going, oh, we could have had a third of this.
Well, and the latest one, the hernia repair that I had more recently, that's now called a reoccurrent hernia, I guess, but that was just a couple of years ago.
No, those are good.
Yeah. Those are not good. They're not fun.
No.
I still have it, guys. It's still poking out of the old belly button, and it makes me very sad. We've had a very negative Craig show.
That's not good. I remember my dad had to get when they had to put mesh in his stomach to put everything back.
I have mesh.
You have mesh in there? Oh,
I got not in the belly button area, which is not fixed, so maybe that's why, but I have mesh in the other spot.
Wow.
I've had like 4 surgeries on my stomach, and I'm in my 30s. That's not awesome.
No. Betty better have a lot of life insurance.
Oh, yeah. I just doubled it up. I just asked for more.
Between that and the motorcycle and the chimney that's going to fall on your head and crush you in your sleep.
Motorcycle is a good idea. It's a solid investment idea.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Not as I don't think it's a primary vehicle, though.
No, Betty would have a vehicle for her that I'd probably borrow as well, or maybe she'd drop me off at work, and then in the summer I'd drive my Bonneville.
Craig, you need copious amounts of marijuana.
Okay, you have some?
Just excessive. Wait, Brian, your eyes lit up. Has something happened? Was there a development?
We're very close.
What's that now?
We're very close.
What is more?
Is there a
need
date?
More story?
Is it a date on the calendar?
I thought it was going to happen last week. Debbie one day said, I'm going to smoke a joint tonight. And I was like, all right. And then Saturday, I had ordered my mom, as you know, anybody who's listened to the show for a while knows that my mom listened to one of our At the Breweries and she fell in love with Summerly, the raspberry beer from Pollyanna. Well, this year for Mother's Day, they were doing a thing where a bakery was making cupcakes with Summerly in the cake batter and then raspberry frosting with some fresh raspberries on top. And I thought, what a unique gift for my mom for Mother's Day.
Yeah.
So you had to order them, but you had to go pick them up. Well, Debbie and I went to we've been to the original Pollyanna in Lamont. We went to the one in Roselle because it was 5 miles closer, and we hadn't been there. I wanted to try. Anyway, we're sitting there, and turns out we were going to go out for Mother's Day Saturday night, but they were doing lobster and crab boils at the brewery. So we had a lobster boil, and we were drinking some beer. And then CB, one of the insomniacs, came out, and it looked like we were all going to come back to the deck and fire up a fatty, and it didn't happen. So it's still coming. It's there. CB, who's he likes to vape his, but he's willing to come, and who knows? Maybe by next week I'll have tripped a light fandango. As
you're absolutely, you're gonna just smoke a fat blunt and not feel anything, and it's gonna be the most anticlimactic.
Yes, that's exactly what he said. He goes, "Man, you're building this up. You are going to be very disappointed by how this goes. And
nothing will happen.
Yeah, nothing. Absolutely nothing." Thank you, Linda. Linda likes the long hair. Festive. You know, who knows? But yeah, so that maybe Craig does need it. Now there's you guys are going to get an email with something that's going on, but it will involve one of the parts of this is a smoking lounge with volcanoes. Do you know what a volcano is?
Oh, I know what a volcano. Wait. You're using a volcano?
I'm not now, not yet. I've seen a volcano used, and I've seen my wife and daughter use a volcano.
I don't know what this is in reference to drugs. I don't know what this is.
Imagine you know what a vaporizer is, right, Craig?
I do, yes.
All right. So imagine a vaporizer that is almost like the Mylar balloon helium tank at Party City. When you go to get a balloon filled and they hook the balloon up. Basically what a volcano is a humidifier that fills up a giant plastic bag with weed smoke. And then because it goes through, it's very smooth, I guess. And then you take the bag, much like a child taking a helium balloon to alter their voice. But this is reprobates taking a plastic bag to alter their psychology.
Yeah.
And you swig off the big bag of marijuana smoke, and you're ready to go.
So you want to go big for marijuana try number one. You don't want to go small.
I will not. No, I won't be using a volcano. I'm saying there's an upcoming event that you two will be apprised of that is part of that is one of the attractions of the event. So,
volcano.
Yeah, a volcano lounge.
Are you going to heavily suggest that other people who go to the event do the volcano, or will this be completely of our own choosing?
Listen.
Any peer pressure?
I don't peer pressure anybody. Everybody does what they want to do. You volcano lounge if you want to. You have some beers if you want to. You drink a icy cold Dr. Pepper if that's your MO. I don't know what you're into. Maybe you just like water. Maybe you like whatever orange liquid you got in that.
My favorite Mountain Dew is what I have.
What?
Live wire. Oh, I love it. I love this so much, Cody, that when it first came out, they threatened to take it away, which is what they do with Mountain Dew. I filled my trunk of my old car with just a bunch of live wire. It's a very awkward time in my life, but I had tons and tons of cases of Mountain Dew live wire, and then they brought it back the following season. This is my favorite. This is a great one.
You are incorrect. It's you're like the person that eats cheddar Pringles.
Why are you judging me so much on this show? Why?
No, dude, no.
I want a motorcycle. I want to restore an old Jeep that no one else wants to fix.
We're only
judging you. This house down.
We're judging you about the Jeep. That's asinine.
It'd be like a quirky thing. He has a brand. Wouldn't it be brand new too if it was fully restored? Isn't that basically like buying a new car?
But are you in a financial situation to do quirky things?
No.
That's an Elon Musk quirky thing.
Yes, it is.
That's a Bill Gates, I'm leaving my wife because I've been hanging out with an accused pedophile kind of thing.
Okay. That's a story that happened.
Sure, that is a story. I tried to tie it in.
Mountain Dew voltage would be my go-to, or maybe Game Fuel. Game Fuel is pretty good.
No, Game Fuel's trash. That's a trash Mountain Dew.
Not great, but it'll do the trick.
Wait, what just happened? How did I just be? You just totally folded, Cody. Stick to your guns, man. You said it was great. I said it was trash. You said it was not good. That's
To
a
be fair,
terrible way to do this.
I haven't had it since the Halo 3 edition, that's like 12 years ago, right? 12, 13
Wait,
years
hold
ago.
on. Stop. Did you just say a soft drink was tied into a video game and that's why you were drinking it?
Yeah, Game
It's
Fuel.
called Gamer Fuel. Are you kidding? I specifically bought it because Halo was on it. I'm that guy.
Yeah.
I detest Mountain Dew. There, I said it.
I know.
Wow,
Don't at me.
wrong. You're wrong.
Most people do.
Oh, I have two
Almost-
sodas, by the way. I'm drinking
almost-
two at the same time.
Oh boy.
Wow.
Are you
Debbie loves Diet Mountain Dew. Debbie will drink Diet Mountain Dew.
You
like
know
it
who
has
else
the
loves
cure.
Diet Mountain Dew?
Yeah.
Tom Skilling, and he's a good dude.
I didn't say people who drank it were bad people.
Yes, Cody, that's how I'm winning this argument now. I'm just
Right.
going to
Yeah.
name names.
You too. Like what?
No, it's fine. A Mountain Dew is the best soda. This is the best of the sodas that exist in the world.
Wow, that's so incorrect.
No,
Yeah.
it's like the full lineup is better than most other sodas because there's so many Mountain Dews.
That's awkwardly wrong. Yeah, because they can't decide on one good one.
Did you
so
say
they
that
have
was
to keep
awkwardly
throwing-
wrong?
They have to keep throwing everything at the wall and say, what about this one? Oh, what about this one? All right, we'll take it away. What about this one? Coke and Pepsi, they came out, here you go. Well, Coke
Every time
screwed
I
up.
do this show, I have a new favorite moment. 2 from today, are you being willing to drive me over in your vehicle? You were going to kill me in a car. And
I
then
just
also that I'm
want you to
awkwardly
start
wrong about
thinking
Mountain
straight.
Dew.
Yeah.
No, it is the best soda. There's no way that there's no soda lineup that's better than Mountain Dew.
Oh my God, that's so.
It's not, this isn't an argument. I think
No,
that's a
but-
fact.
Craig, I 100% agree with you, but also recognize how wrong we are because no one agrees with that. No,
Stand to your guns, Cody. Stop
No.
having flimsy opinions. You'll never run for office.
no, thank God. Could you imagine voting for me for office?
I would.
What am I-
I'd vote Cody in.
What would I run as? Oh man, every listener hearing this right now at this point is just like, oh God, please don't let me think about anything Cody's ever thought about politics.
Okay, all three of us, like
Flashbacks.
what government role would we get if we all ran for offices? Maybe we can do this like, grade school style. Who's
Water
the
reclamation.
president? Okay. Water reclamation.
Yeah.
Noonan, would you go president?
No, I don't want to be president.
I would vote you. I would go that road if Noonan was the
See,
president.
that's the problem with America. Just right there. You
Why?
boiled down the
I
entire
think you're
problem.
a rational person who makes, decisions and you stick to your guns on your decisions. I think you're a
Dude.
perfect presidential candidate.
Oh, I don't have the breadth of knowledge that I believe a president needs to have. I'm smart enough to know that, though, so I would surround myself with people who
See?
have that breadth of knowledge.
You're winning me over in the vote you don't want me to cast.
I would listen to them and then make that decision based on good input.
Noonan
But-
2024.
Oh no, 2024 is a foregone conclusion. It's going to be
is it?
Yeah, it's going to be a cluster. But
All right.
no, I don't.
2028.
One, I believe there's too much in my closet that would probably dissuade a lot of people from voting for me.
Okay.
Two, I don't like the system. I don't like the fact that someone, and I'm not saying me, but somebody who might be overly qualified for public office, between the financial stuff that you have to go through and all the other garbage, and the fact that it is becoming more and more hostile in that arena, we're missing out on probably a lot of really great people on, it doesn't matter what side, there's probably a lot of really great people who are like, screw this.
I don't know if this is a campaign speech, but saying that you want to unite both sides of the aisle and you're acknowledging the fact that politics is too partisan, I'm in still, Noonan. I'm still voting for you, whether or not you're running. Maybe I'll pencil you in 2024 and hope for the best.
Tom brings up a good point. Moped riders would not vote for me.
Ooh, yeah.
I would be, everybody with a moped or who's ever seen a moped or who's ever had a hot dog in the area of a moped. I'm out. I'm just, that's what I'm saying. There's too many strikes against me.
Now,
I'm a long-haired hippie freak.
I want Craig for sheriff's office.
Yeah, I'll do sheriff. I don't want to be involved in any conflicts of any kind. So can I be a sheriff who never shows up to any conflict? Because that'd be fine.
Depends where you're going to be sheriff.
No, I want to judge from the side. I want to tell people I'm afraid to run toward danger. I will always run away as sheriff.
It's not going to be. I would want to be like the press secretary. I'd like to go into that room with all those reporters and just tell them to go pound sand sometimes.
People do that job differently, though.
Stop trying to trap us.
They don't always do it exactly like that, but
they never get to do it like that. But that's why I would be so good at it.
Okay. That job feels very hard with very little reward. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, except for, then you move on to some cushy network job as a talking head.
Kayleigh McEnany, she's one of the hosts of a Fox TV show.
You just made up that name.
No, she would. Do you not? Okay, I'm not going to vote for Cody for things. Never mind. Never mind.
I'm Googling it.
Wow, Ken bringing up another group that wouldn't like. Hog farmers would not like me because I don't like ham. But Ken, that's not true because I eat every other part of the pig. I'll go from snooter to pooter. From snout to I'll eat pig.
Well, I did not spell Kayleigh's name right at all.
I discovered what my political job would be. I would be Brian Noonan's campaign manager, and I would tell both of you, Tom and Ken, that this is a good thing because Brian is transparent. So you do know a lot about him. Obviously, we have listeners already weighing in. This is an honest candidate, people. If you want to vote for a guy you can trust, that's Brian Noonan. Does he get along with hog farmers? Maybe not. Does he get along with the moped crowd? Maybe not. But don't worry, he'll find a place for all of them in his administration.
And let me say this. I built bridges to repair the relationship with the moped people.
Right. Yeah.
I took what had turned into a very volatile, hostile, anger-filled situation, and I mended fences.
Yes. Yeah. Do you want a president that refuses to admit his mistakes or one that's willing to address them? Brian Noonan, 2024.
Right. A president who is nothing but mistakes.
I Googled her, and I indeed had never heard of that woman and didn't know who she was.
How did you not?
Press secretary.
She's no idea.
Where have you been?
No idea.
Do you know who the current... Hold on, Cody, don't cheat. Do you know who the current press secretary is?
It's a woman.
Uh-huh.
That's all I know.
Jen Psaki.
First name starts with G or J.
Literally,
Jen Psaki.
I've never heard that name.
Her last name is also not pronounced the way it's spelled. There's a P in there.
Right. It's like a pterodactyl.
I've never heard that name in my life. Ask me about more positions.
Your live wire.
No, hold on.
I know the president and the vice president, and that's all.
This is not necessarily a bad thing, by the way, what Cody's representing. I just had this conversation. I want to dive in this boat so bad.
Please.
I just had this conversation with a colleague. I believe that politics, you only care about them at a certain age. I believe that a lot of people who would be Gen Z right now barely care. There's going to be outliers to every rule. Nothing is black and white. But a lot of Gen Z people don't give... Huh?
Dice are.
Okay, fine. And it's a good joke. But there are no absolutes is what I'm trying to say. But most people in the Gen Z generation right now don't really give a crap about politics at all. Millennials, we're now finding that. I was like Cody a couple years ago, and maybe because of the job I've had over the last few years, it's changed. But the older a person gets, the interest in politics spikes tremendously from what I've found. And I don't know what that is. But Noonan, do you consider yourself a political-minded person now? And maybe when you were younger, you didn't care.
I didn't care at all.
Right.
Quite frankly. I started caring a little more when I started working in radio at GN. Yeah. And then the last couple go-rounds, I mean, I always voted and stuff. I knew who was running for the big offices, president, governor, senator, stuff like that. The last few elections, I've gotten more involved, but now it's funny. I'm kind of reverting to my old way for a little bit. I know, I just need a breather. I think most of us needed a breather. And
well, so our current president is trying to be boring. People that
it's working. It's very. I love it. There's nothing. I love boring for a while.
People that talk about his strategy will admit out loud that he is attempting to not make any news at all because he thinks that's refreshing after the last guy. So, now politics is purposefully trying to be. I don't think it's boring. I think some things are not.
There's a lot going on.
Yeah. Yes,
but it's not a nonstop barrage of. I mean, every day there's more stuff happening.
Yes.
Tomorrow's going to be a big day in the Republican Party. I don't agree with where they're going, but
what's happening tomorrow?
I'm with the minority.
No, let's not do it. We're going to do a political show all of a sudden.
No,
don't ask Cody.
I agree with. I like
Liz Cheney. He's talking about Liz Cheney.
I'm talking about Liz Cheney. And I agree with the minority of the Republican party that is saying this is a bad move. We gotta, we can't. But that's whatever. So there's stuff happening, and there's going to be big debates because the other day the president, despite being boring, every once in a while he'll say something that people go, "Oh, this is going to lead to something." Now there's possibility to compromise on some of the bill. There's a lot going on,
Yes.
but there's always been, quite frankly, there's always a lot going on in Washington, as there should be.
Sure.
But we were getting bombarded daily with extraneous stuff that didn't really have a bearing on what's really important to the citizenry. Now that stuff is still going on, but we don't have all the extra stuff. And so that's why I feel I can take a break now, because I'll watch the news, I'll read the paper, and I'll go, all right, I know what's going on.
Yeah, but back to the idea about like age and political interest. It's so interesting to me that maybe younger people don't feel represented in politics very often.
True.
Maybe by more of a local politician or a congressperson at chance, but not necessarily the senators, and certainly not people higher than those positions, even locally.
Of course not.
And so I think that causes the disinterest more than anything else. I know that a lot of people would hate the idea of someone in their 20s and or 30s getting elected to a significant office position. Obviously, some you can't run for until you're a certain age.
Right.
But I do think it's interesting that it's just the trend. Everyone I run into that's in Gen Z or most millennials still has a less than developed sense of interest in politics, and people older than that, Gen X or baby boomers, have tremendous amounts of interest in it.
I think part of it too is you get to a certain age, you start accumulating property, and you've been in the workforce for a long time. And to your point about not feeling represented, it's accurate. If you look at any pictures of the Congress and the Senate, not a huge it's a little better than it was before.
Yeah,
but it's still not fully representative. And that'll just take. But that then goes back to my point of there's probably a lot of really good candidates who fit in these whatever boxes you want to check of being more representative of their constituency, that are like, I'm not putting up with this garbage.
Serious question. And I assume the answer is going to be a hard no from everybody. And I've been missing on most of my stuff today.
Not at all.
What if we stop dividing all these different, seats in Congress or wherever by districts and started doing it by like age? Like we had to have a certain number of people in their 20s that 20-year-old people voted on, 30-year-old people voted in that bracket. And then we forced it to be all generational and representative of how many people are voting adults in each age bracket, as opposed to coming from here or there. I think we actually might get more consensus, and you might have more, people reaching across the aisle, at least within their age group, for those that were like them. How do you guys feel about breaking it down differently? And it's never going to happen, and it's probably a terrible idea.
I think term limits would be a good place to start.
No,
wait. All right. So I quickly
radical.
Googled Liz Cheney. Let me get this straight real quick.
Oh my God.
It's a question. It's a question. It's a question because I don't feel like researching it. Just a quick question.
All right.
So what I gathered from headlines is basically just yes or no is all I need, Craig.
This is great.
Roughly, do I get this right? So basically, Liz Cheney has been saying that like Trump really did lose the election and stop looking into it.
Yeah.
And so the GOP is like going to fire her from being like the leader of something.
Yeah.
Is that
sure?
okay.
That's enough.
That's weird, but that's fine. I didn't know any of that until just now.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
But Craig, your point about I think that
why not? Let's do it by age. We seem to have a lot more consensus opinion in people.
No. I like the idea of people entering some kind of lottery system, and when it comes election time, it's like you get picked from this lottery to be a representative.
That's such a bad idea. That's too
or whatever
random.
it is. Your employer is
can't have people that have no interest. No, we can't do this.
You wouldn't have people that have no interest.
The lottery system works how again? Wait, explain it to me again.
Some kind of vetting process. Like maybe you take a basic civics test or something like that. Nothing too gentrified or anything that would.
But to be in the bucket, I have to express interest in being in the bucket.
Yeah, you express interest in being in the bucket. You demonstrate some kind of competence. Maybe you have to check a few boxes. At like a certain age or like a certain number of years.
Pick a ball out, and that guy is the governor.
Yes. No,
Okay.
not like governor, but for certain positions. Like, what if we did it for Senate or like Congress or whatever? And then like you really truly get like a more random sample representation. There's a set limit amount of time. There's a set amount of money they can make, and then they go in. They do the job that they're interested in doing, and then hopefully they do a good job, and then leave, and then you know everybody's happy, and it just kind of rotates. And
I would respond to that, but I don't like it. I'm going to respond to Marta's thing. No, I'm being Superman. I'm sorry, Cody. That was super. There's a
shocking
jerk move. No, Marta said that you'd have people undervoting in my age idea. I don't think so. I think if people were in your age group, you would be tremendously more likely as a younger person to vote.
No, she's saying, I think her comment is that you would have like 18-year-olds sitting in the legislature.
They are voting human. I mean, not 18s. I think I would do it in brackets. I think you'd do like every 5 or 10 years as opposed to
fun.
Like November Madness?
Yeah, kind of like November Madness.
All right. Here's my answer to your question. One, I agree with you that things need to change.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of like a little bit of Cody's idea, but this is the same reason I'm not down with your idea.
Okay.
Because, and this is my age showing.
Alrighty.
I believe we need to figure out how to get people who are either really invested in doing the best for their communities on a local level, or people who are going to serve in national office who have some sort of experience. And it can't be just one thing. We need more well-rounded people in there, because we've seen being a businessman is not the best answer. Being, coming in, and I'm all for getting back to bringing people in for a short amount of time. That's why I kind of like Cody's idea. All right, we vet these people.
It's random happenstance, though. Cody's idea is literal chaos.
No, you have to add there.
You
there
can't
have to
win
be
a
some
lottery.
Levels.
No.
You have to have levels before you get to there. There have to be maybe the primaries. Maybe it's you're passing. You're going through a strict vetting process, and then it comes down to all right, for congressmen in the 18th district, there's 6 candidates. They've all passed muster by a bipartisan committee who've gone over their resumes. They've taken these tests. They've done the background checks. Now, for this one, there are 6 balls, and we're going to pull 2, and those people are the ones.
No.
I
hate this idea so much.
But they're only in for a couple of years. Yeah. And then they go. I don't intentionally want to throw.
Hold on. I don't intentionally want to throw a grenade into our system. And I feel like happens like Lotto version is the grenade approach.
What about your November Madness where 20-year-olds are only going to vote for 20-year-olds? First of all, the turnout for young people voting is so small anyway.
Because no one represents them.
Right.
Have you ever tried to have a conversation with a 20-year-old about politics?
So some ridiculous 20-year-old could win with 3 votes.
No,
I don't think that would happen.
Go, dude.
I think that if people started campaigning to people their own age or around their own age, that you'd have tremendous more interest in it. My idea is to actually create much more interest in the political system for people that are a large representation of our population. People in their 20s are a significant amount of our current population in this country, and yet they have no place in a lot of the political arenas.
Do people in their 20s, and this is not a slam. I have a daughter in her 20s. I know there's a lot of very intelligent people in their 20s.
Sure.
Are they equipped to go?
I think you're being ageist. I think no matter how you phrase this question.
For local governments, I think it's fine.
Okay.
As you get into big national office,
I'm going to tell you.
I don't think you have the life experience to know how a system like this is going to work. What it's going to take.
I'm going to say that is a overgeneralization, and I disagree.
No,
I think that you are capable of being someone in your 20s who's had enough life experience to be. And these people would campaign to run. I'm not saying that any random 20-year-old picked up off the street could be one of our influential. These would be people that choose to campaign just like anyone else, but there would be restrictions. Right now, for example, you have restrictions based on what state you live in. These are supposed to be like-minded individuals. To live within a certain area as other people means that you represent the people within that area. I'd like to change how we choose who represents us. Why not, instead of representing the people who live in this district, in this state, they're the people who are of this age within maybe some different subset of the country.
But then those people don't represent me or my interests.
You're voting for your own guy.
But
you're voting for a
how
guy
many
that does
people are going to
represent
be
you.
in there?
The
How many?
same amount. How many?
Craig,
How many?
Hold on, Craig. You just said that the people in their 20s have enough experience. You're in your 30s, and you just found out that people can sell houses that don't work. Okay, now the housing market, the housing market happens to be a pretty significant portion of the economy. I don't know if you knew this.
I am aware.
If someone has never held multiple jobs or owned a house or
so wait, are you trying to say that all politicians? Hold on, are you trying to say that all politicians who run for office have the unique experience? Like, there's a bunch of our current governor here in Illinois has not had the same life experience of a lot of the small businesses that he shut down. There's so many scenarios.
Right.
No, you're demonstrating one. You're demonstrating one of many different ways in which people can be out of touch. Yes, a 20-year-old is unlikely to have bought a home compared to a 30, 40, 50-year-old human or whatever. But that is one subset of a huge conversation that can be multifaceted. So maybe they don't have an appreciation there like some other people do.
Do they?
But we
know,
have a tremendous amount of
about the healthcare system. Do some do? Some have been. Some young people have been on their own for a long time. Other young people have not. Now, that's not to say that if you're 23 and you're living in your local town and you go, this isn't right. This isn't right. We're going to go, and you're going to run for city councilman. Cool. That's great. Good. If you get the vote, but then everybody has to vote for you, not just your 3 burnout friends behind the 7-Eleven.
That's not how it would work out. I'm just saying that we choose to come up with one system of how our society is represented by politicians. Let's come up with a different system of how our society is represented by politicians. Maybe if you had a bunch of 20-year-olds in Congress, they wouldn't care as much about some of the housing things and they'd approach other issues that may or may not be of interest. I don't know how it would work out, but I know our current system is so ridiculously separated and partisan and broken.
No, we all agree with that.
There's so few young people that care to vote at all. And they are always a significant part of the population that's impacted by what happens in politics. So what is a better solution?
It goes back to what I was saying before with the campaign finances and everything. If you're 35, there's a good chance you can't raise the millions and millions of dollars that it's going to take for you to run. So there has to be change in every level so that your plan can start to take effect. Because we do need a bigger mix in government. But right now, no, who can afford to run?
Rich people.
Not me. Brian, I think to Craig's point, Craig does like you, Brian. Craig recognizes that the system is broken, and Craig is proposing a worse solution to fix it. Right. And I think that we should all recognize that, and that's fine. And we're all entitled to, what? I think Mountain Dew Live Wire should be president every year. Just we are disproportionately represented by people in
certain
old people.
No, I wouldn't say it that way. Disproportionately represented by people in different generational positions.
Old people
throughout the country. And it would be better if we found a way to be more accurately represented in places in politics.
It would. And I think age is one component, but I think that income level is another component. I think that someone should be there should be Senate seats reserved for people that are coming from jobs that make $30,000 a year. That's hard to do because the first thing that happens when they get in office is companies are going to come to them and say, "Hey, I'll give you a bunch of money to do X and Y." And that'll be a problem, but it's still something that should happen.
You know what would make it more likely for a bunch of people to get jobs that had only made like 20 to 30 a year? If they were all in their 20s. Those people would all probably, for the most part, have jobs that were lower paying than people that are in older age brackets.
None of that
Dogecoin. To echo what Cody says, Craig is taking a flat tire on a bicycle and then bending the rim.
No, I'm only doing that in your opinion, Noonan, because you think a bunch of young people are dummies.
No, that's why I didn't say that. I think a wide mass of them are dummies, but not all of them. It's the same reason I don't want The Rock to be president.
I do.
Listen, I love The Rock, but I don't want him to be president. I don't want Matthew McConaughey to be governor of Texas. I want, if you're 35 and you've studied political science and you've worked for campaigns and that's your whole life, or you've worked for community, organizations, that kind of stuff. That's because that's what you want to do. You want to better our society. Those are the kind of people I want going into politics and getting elected.
And I'm assuming those are the people, right? I'm assuming those are the people who would get elected even in my system, because I'm not saying that any random person of a certain age gets their ball plucked out of a spinny bingo thing. Like
Not.
But it's fine.
Yeah,
I
it's nuts.
I
Nuts
think our
about
representation
politics.
is not accurate to. I think that's why we have so many political fights that a lot of regular people don't care about, because the political fights that happen.
Who has regular?
Politicians fight about things that regular people don't really give a crap about. I think that's true. And I think the reason that happens is because we're not accurately represented at this point by the people who are in office. I think that some of the arguments they have, some of the things that they determine for way too long and are so split on, the reason that exists is because, the people who voted for them are from.
I'm listening to Craig, but I'm wondering if Cody has to take a dump.
What? No, there was an earthquake. Very small, very localized earthquake in Lombard.
Okay.
I agree with everything both of you just said.
That's good.
That's impossible.
Cogent points from both sides. No, I think we're at the core. I think we agree.
Craig is right. Thanks.
But that's your
Anne-Marie.
mom.
I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what you're saying. I can't acknowledge
mom
or
saying Craig is right.
I can't agree or disagree with whoever that could be.
All right.
No,
I want to ask that same person who sent a message if you're right about the 96 Jeep.
Whoa.
The answer is going to be a hard no there.
I listen. I understand.
What
But no, you're right about that. All right.
we are not represented accurately. We need to fix it. Good talk.
Yes.
What's next?
See, we're in agreement.
We are.
Isn't that nice? We just have different opinions on how we approach that.
Mine's a great one because I'm all full of live wire, and yours is less than great.
I've been at places where kids can't make change anymore. I don't want them in charge of my, the IRS.
Hey, that sounded old. That sounded ageist. Yeah.
Did it? Okay,
Just
good. If you can't make change, you can't be a candidate.
Just give them some Pepto-Bismol. They'll be able to make change.
I don't want somebody jacked up on live wire debating gun control.
I'm pretty sure that those people can send each other money on their apps, though, and they don't need to make change.
That's true.
Well, you know what? We still live in a society with currency for now.
I think it's mostly digital. I just bought this live wire from a vending machine that took, my Apple Pay. So I'm
Bitcoin?
good. No, I wish they took Bitcoin. No, that'd be good. Tesla's going to accept Dogecoin.
I know.
Of course it is.
Yeah. That live wire used to cost 14 million Dogecoin. Now it costs 2. I'm very upset about this. Very upset.
If you traveled back in time to the beginning of this year, would you tell yourself to invest in something or have some kind of conversation about coronavirus? What would you do? If you only had like 30 seconds to talk to your old self, what's the 30 seconds you'd choose to spend it on?
Put every dollar in your savings account into Dogecoin. Right.
And then
now.
Boom. And then Cody's gone.
That's
nothing
literally
about
how it's
vaccine or any of those other conversations.
Dude, if I put 10K in there, I'd have enough money to retire. Literally.
I'm aware.
But is it real money? Where do you get it?
Doesn't matter.
Now, this is ageist. I don't get any of this. I'm not ashamed to say I don't get it because everybody who claims to get it, I don't believe that you really understand it. There's a dog and there's fake money and good luck to all of you.
Noonan, what would you tell January Noonan in 30 seconds?
Keep exercising and put down the bottle.
All right. It's a good conversation.
Yeah.
And
listen, I only had 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah. And avoid crypto and create a cryptocurrency.
You could create one.
Nut dollars.
I want to keep responding to the things Marta's saying.
What would you say, Craig?
What would I tell myself if I could go back? It depends on when in January. I'd probably mention something about the insurrection and trying to make sure that people don't do that. If I was early enough in January.
How would you stop that?
I don't know. I maybe at least throw it out there to other me so he could try to brainstorm it. And then I'd probably tell him to invest in some kind of cryptocurrency. I think those are the two things I'd say. Insurrection's bad. Look into it and try to prevent it. Also, cryptocurrency, throw a lot of money there. Thank you, Craig. Bye. That would be it.
Good advice for all of us.
Yeah. And also vaccine up, probably too.
I'm amazed now that the reports are coming out that there's, states are turning down vaccines because people aren't.
Are you kidding? Are you actually surprised by that? We're gonna snowball again.
Well,
people don't want the some people don't want it, and this was inevitable.
I know, and some people are stupid. I saw. Listen. I don't care. You can at me on that one. If you're, if all of a sudden you're a medical expert and you don't want to get the vaccine, sorry. You're dumb.
Alrighty.
That's a little unfair. I will. Yes, I talked to this some vaccine. He runs a vaccine lab at Pitt.
Some vaccine guy.
No, Paul Dupre. He's the head of the Center for Vaccine Research. At
He
University
stays outside my house. He lives
I
in
talked to a guy with a needle in an alley.
Yeah,
He didn't
he's
seem
the
to have any
vaccine
problem
guy.
with it.
He calls himself the vaccine guy.
So we talked to him a couple of years ago on the podcast, and we're talking about vaccines. This, before coronavirus, right? No, it was just like whatever, But he was like, he said that he was like, I have a lot of empathy for. We were talking about vaccines for children, and he said I have a lot of empathy for parents because parents want the best for their kids. You can think a person's as bad as you want, but no one is that bad that they're looking at a vaccine. They're like, oh, that seems like a good idea. I'm not going to give it to my kid. Parents don't work that way unless you're an actual psychopath. So, they're trying to make an informed decision. They're just misinformed or underinformed or incorrectly informed, which is pretty easy in today's hellish media landscape, especially when you have politicians and news outlets that literally lie.
Oh my God, I'm going to
say things wrong. So anyway, all I'm going to say is that I have some levels of empathy, and the
coronavirus real estate agent again.
The coronavirus vaccine is
out elsewhere.
Oh, stop.
Sorry, go ahead.
Hold on. The coronavirus vaccine is very difficult to wrap your head around because one, it's an mRNA vaccine, which is a different type of vaccine than any vaccine that's come out. Two, news outlets are doing a horrific job of talking about it. I saw Breaking 911 is this Twitter account, and it was like Breaking 911, breaking 6 people in Alaska who got the vaccine come down with coronavirus. Well, guess what? The vaccine does not prevent you from getting coronavirus.
Bill Nevin just got it.
It prevents you from getting symptoms. So them framing it as like, oh, this is big news, confuses people because they see, oh my gosh, and because it's breaking in all caps, and because it's this red flashing thing.
The Yankees third base coach got it today as a breakthrough case of COVID-19. He was fully vaccinated, and that made the news.
But people say the way, they see the way that it's framed, and they're just like, well, is that surprising? Well, it's not surprising, but news outlets don't care.
No,
there's a lot of really, really irresponsible journalism.
Here's the problem. Here's the problem.
Really irresponsible journalism and bad science communication. So I have
here's
empathy. What I'm saying is I have empathy for the people that are vaccine hesitant, and everyone needs to do a better job of communicating it, from scientists to journalists to politicians. And, until that happens, I'm going to say to them, you should get the vaccine. It's not an excuse for not getting it, but it's not like it's like bad or stupid people. It's just very confusing. And that means that it's incumbent on people like you and me who understand what's happening to try and communicate that as clearly as possible. And it's hard. It's really hard.
Our society is arrogant in a way that is problematic. Our society is arrogant in a way. I'm not just referring to any I think as a totality, our society is, most of us walk around thinking we can Google the answer to anything. And so we know most things. Actually, 7 out of 8 people said they got smarter during the pandemic. I think that was a stat that dropped today. Even though 7 out of 8 people didn't better their knowledge somehow, they're pretty sure we got smarter. So I'll say this. I like the way
you said that.
No, I love it too. The conversation right now for those that don't want to get vaccinated is so terrible because it is exactly what pushes you to continue to not get vaccinated. To look into a camera and say, you're a moron, you're an idiot, the decision you're making is wrong, is like telling a teenager not to do something. When you tell a teenager not to do it, they'll be like, double F you. I'm going to go.
That.
Yeah. So what we need to do is have a conversation where you're it's like any psychology 101 course. To get someone to agree with you, first behave as if you agree with them at least a little bit. Give them some level of reciprocal conversation that doesn't dismiss them as a moron. And then after you do that, try to have a conversation where you find common ground and demonstrate that maybe there's a second side to the conversation they haven't thought. Like if we dismiss the people who don't get vaccinated like we have now, and if you go on television and say you're really making a huge mistake and putting people's lives at jeopardy, that doesn't change, unfortunately to some, the conversation. The rush to get the vaccine made sense because our message matched the people who were rushing to get the vaccine.
Correct.
Now our message is against the people who want to get the vaccine, and it's not going to encourage any more vaccine.
They are trying. There is you're right. I'm going to give you that. And I realized that my statement was not going to change everybody's mind and probably dig some people in, but sorry. For the last 4 to 6 years, I've tried to see other people's sides of a lot of different things.
Sure.
And quite frankly, I'm tired of it. On this issue, I choose to believe science. I choose to believe sources that I'm getting. Cody's point is accurate that there's a lot of sensationalism on both sides. I think, Craig, the message, they're trying to change the message, to your point. They are trying to get more, they're saying trusted voices, whether it's your primary physician or community leaders or clergy. And I get it. But then there's still the people who, even when those trusted voices are saying to them, I saw and I know.
And there's people who won't get it. And our society needs to just be okay with that. That at some point
that's fine.
we cross that threshold of these people didn't want it. And as horrifically as it might sound to some, if this group of people gets disproportionately sick and we lose live, but people chose not to put something in their body.
No. But
it's a thing. No. Our government can't get to a point where we force this on people. We can't do it, guys.
We do it already. Craig, we do it already.
Not like this.
We already have, if you want to go to school in this country, you have to get vaccinated.
Yeah.
If you want to go
Brian Noonan, really
to other countries, if you want to go to other countries, you have to get vaccinated.
We'll do this one at a time. Can you be homeschooled in this country?
Sure.
So you don't have to get vaccinated. To educate your children, you have to make a different decision, but you do not have to vaccinate your kids.
But then your children are not, then you cannot complain that you can't go into a place or that you're excluded from places.
I agree with everything you're saying now. Yes, there are people who might complain loudly and they don't really, because individual businesses can make decisions. They can decide.
But if we look at the numbers, a lot of these diseases, once these vaccines came out, whether it's measles
with you.
or
I'm
whatever.
a vaccinated human. I'm not actually going to tell you the science is wrong. That's not my argument. My argument is we can't force people to make a decision on what they put in their body to the extent that the government stays shut down or opens up more based on people. Like
no one's arguing that, Craig.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not arguing any of the science either, though, but we can't force people to get a vaccine. We just have to accept a point when we don't have the percentage we wanted.
That's fine. But if because these people do not get vaccinated, we can't get past the point where we can fully open and stuff. Everybody who's vaccinated is doing it not only for themselves, but because we all want to get back.
What you just said didn't agree with me. You just said
hold on, Craig. Let me finish.
If you got it, you got to let me finish. Only because if you don't want to get vaccinated and we can't reach the point where there's herd immunity and everything can open, it's on you. And then you can't bitch that, hey, how come we can't have 100%? How come we all can't go to the baseball game?
Yes, you can, bitch. No, we can't have 100% things open.
No, you can't, because you're part of the problem.
No, you're not the problem. You're expressing your right to make it. No, you're not. You're now pretending there's a right answer here. And I know the science answer. Not when it comes to my freedom to choose. I am dying on this hill only because I believe in this freedom in our country. In China, for example, they forced the vaccine on a bunch of people. They would knock on your front door. They'd be like, hey, you've been around people with COVID-19. Boom, vaccine time. We can't get to that point in our society, and we can't subtly be at that point either. We have to allow for our country to be as free as it's always been. And I don't think it's the right decision personally. I believe science demonstrates it's the wrong decision to not get a vaccine. I want to make sure that's abundantly clear. But I also believe in people's choice and ability to do this. This is going to sound terrible, but this is the connection I make. You can choose not to treat an illness you have. You can be diagnosed with something like cancer and say, all right, I'm not going to treat that. I'm going to live what time I have left. This is akin to that kind of decision for me. I think people, for whatever reason, can decide I'm not getting the vaccine. And
but your argument is apples and oranges. If I have cancer and choose not to treat it, which is my choice, only I'm going to die.
Yeah.
But hold on.
It's a huge difference.
I understand it's a huge difference, but the other people who are in jeopardy of also getting sick also chose not to get a vaccine. There is a situation where our society has had vaccine available to enough people for enough amount of time. I don't know if we've quite reached it yet, but we will, where the vaccine exists and we have very limited interest in it. And a lot of people are choosing to take that risk. It doesn't matter if it's 1 or 1,000. They've chosen not to get vaccinated. We're already seeing numbers less than what we can do. Our capacity is not being reached in most places in this country. I don't know how much more that number lowers to where we decide we've hit that threshold, but it cannot be the number of people in the country are vaccinated and then all rules are gone. It has to be the demand is low enough that it's available. It's out there and available, and people aren't choosing to get it. That's the right barometer to reopening our country fully. Is demand.
No, I disagree.
Yes, I know you do, because a lot of people feel that we can force a medical decision in this case on people.
If we get to the percentage that they're saying would be herd immunity, then it's fine if a certain percentage is not vaccinated.
I know you're talking about it medically. I'm not talking about it medically. I'm not having a.
But you have to, in this case, you have to talk about it medically.
No, you
there
don't.
has to be a medical.
No, you don't. No, you don't. No,
why not?
Because it's the freedom to choose, guys.
Craig,
it's the freedom for humans and Americans to choose.
That's wildly
cannot, Craig, at no point in this country has it ever been okay to infringe on someone else's rights. You cannot legally drink a bottle of whiskey, get behind the wheel of a car, and go drive.
Your example.
Hold on, no. You gotta let me finish. Yeah, because you might hit somebody and kill them. All right, the coronavirus, as it is, right? We could make herd immunity, but guess what happens when a virus spreads a whole bunch and then it's unfettered and people aren't vaccinated enough against it? Guess what happens? Then mutations come up.
I know we have variants right now. Cody just left. I'm aware.
Cody, mic dropped.
Yeah, I guess. I'm aware we have variants right now. What we're talking about, though, is the amount of people that are disinterested in the vaccine becomes so evident that those are the people who lack protection, even with the variants we have now, and even in places like India, other parts of the world are going to struggle with this a lot more than the United States will struggle with creating variants. But the truth is that we just get to a point in our society where you have to acknowledge we're pretending that this doesn't exist, and we're going to keep pretending it doesn't exist, and we're going to eventually try to shame people into getting the vaccine.
Pretending what doesn't exist?
That people don't want it. That some people don't want this.
Oh, I don't think
that they're going to not want it.
I don't think anybody's pretending that there's people who don't want it.
Let me explain that a little bit better. The amount of people that don't. I think we're being disingenuous right now as a society as to the amount of people that probably are never getting vaccinated. I think it's larger than we want it to be. And I think at some point we're going to have to come to terms with that simple fact that we cannot force people to get the vaccine who don't want it, and that the number is going to be higher than we want it to be. And
so
in our society,
do we give up trying to change their minds?
Yes,
and
absolutely.
We just give up trying to change people's minds.
No, I'm not speaking in absolutes, Noonan.
That's what you said. I said, do we give up?
I don't think we give up on changing people's minds as a simple sentence in a lot of areas. But in this specific area, because of the amount of people who are likely to be disinterested in a vaccine, no matter how hard we try, and my belief that it is their right to choose whether or not they get vaccinated and not my right to tell them to do it, yes, eventually we get to a point in society where on this one issue, we give up trying to change people's minds. And we don't have to be there quite yet.
We're willing as a country to tell people how to deal with other health issues all the time. We're willing to legislate choice.
I don't think I lose this argument by demonstrating examples of other places we can do better. I agree with you, Noonan, but that doesn't change the simple fact that I'm saying that in this one scenario, I don't know why I'm holding this Gushers wrapper so much. In this one scenario,
you're all jacked up on sugar. Let's be honest.
I am a lot.
You're all
really great.
Up.
But in this one scenario, the number is going to outweigh what science and society, I guess the majority of society, desire it to be for the amount of people that will never get vaccinated. We just have to come to terms with that. We're not there yet.
To your point, though, we are. Everything is opening. So we are, as we're looking and cases are dropping, they're kind of doing what they said they were going to do. We get to
Illinois is not fully open.
Not yet, but it's coming, and there's already.
Well, it's coming under the assumption somewhat that we'll continue to see vaccine numbers go up, and if vaccine numbers
not
stagnate,
vaccine numbers, case numbers. That's what they're looking at. They're not basing opening on how many people get vaccinated. They're basing openings on the metrics of cases, positivity rates, and that. And since those are all dropping,
right,
things are opening, and things are opening around the country, and that's good. So your point, we can still tell people, hey, we're opening to this level. This is why it would benefit you to get the vaccine. And it doesn't just benefit you, it benefits other people as well. So I think to throw up our hands and go, well, these people are, they're just not going to do it.
That's not the way.
We're not holding them hostage because things are opening now.
Let's say the case rate started to spike again at some point because there's a certain subset of our society that are not vaccinated. Do we close things back down at that point? My answer is no. We allow society to eventually operate because the vaccine's available. People could get it. They chose not to, and maybe that's the reason why those numbers spike at some point. I think the conversation now is abundantly flawed, as I demonstrated, and I think eventually our society has to accept a reality it doesn't want to accept.
Nope, wrong, Craig. Let me tell you why. Because Bill Nye calls you out on your bullshit. You're wrong about everything you just said. I asked Bill Nye, hey, Bill Nye, the science guy, the extremely famous science communicator who's been doing science for 30 years. Hey, Bill Nye, how do you get people to change their minds? And you know what Bill Nye told me, Cody Gough, the Discovery host that was talking to Bill Nye about science? Bill Nye, the science guy, told me, Craig, in our conversation that I had with him, that you know what you got to remember is it takes a really long time to change people's minds. You know, you can tell somebody climate change is real or vaccines save lives, and they're not going to change their minds that day or that month. But then you tell them again, and then you wait a while, then you take them again. Sometimes it takes a few years. Sometimes it takes 5 years, but eventually people come around. So we will never give up by helping people understand that vaccines save lives. I think if it takes 5 years, it takes 5 years. But I will continue to tell people, if you look at any historical data
hold on.
I know that you are.
I never said to stop saying things. I never said you could stop changing your messaging. I said that our society, our rules have to be embraced. That I know.
Oh, no, that's a separate thing.
When Noonan said give up on telling people to do things differently, I didn't literally mean we give up on saying words into microphones and stuff, but we do accept our society is what it is and allow for none of our rules to be connected to the amount of people who are vaccinated or not, or in this case, I guess the amount of cases we're getting. I know, and I want to respond to two things that Ken just said in the chat. The first one being Cody's example of drinking and driving and taking lives. I think that is an incorrect comparison in this case because the vaccine is available and people choosing not to get it are the ones who are most likely to be harmed by that. That is their personal decision that they're making. It's not the people who are vaccinated. They would be protected from being hit on the road by a drunk driver. And to the second point about life experience, if I'm actually knowledgeable in this situation, I do know people who have lost their lives to COVID-19. I do have family members that I know who passed away because of the virus. I don't know many long haulers, but I do at least know 3 individuals who are no longer with us, and COVID-19 was the case. And I have utmost empathy and respect and understanding as best I can for what those families are going through. And I got vaccinated, but I do believe that we as a society cannot force people like they did in some other countries to be vaccinated, and we just have to accept that. I feel like it's
arguing that, right?
We are
we're
somewhat
not
arguing that simply the way in which we execute that goal is different. No one is actually saying knock on the door and shove some vaccine in a person's arm. But at the same extent, saying that we have to keep these rules in place for this reason or that reason, or we have to, the messaging society as a whole has, it is disrespectful to people who are making a different decision. It is acting as though those people are dumb. And I don't necessarily personally think that. I don't think that people who don't get vaccinated are stupid.
You don't think there's some people who are choosing to believe, and granted, everybody who's doing it is not dumb.
Right.
But there is a large swath of the anti-vax population that was lured into this way of thinking, because this was made a political thing.
Yes.
That has no that to me is not making a well-educated decision. You were conned. You were conned into making a poor decision. And people are trying to educate you to say, listen, on this issue, rethink why you're doing this. One of the stories I saw last night, they were talking to 2 brothers. One is a healthcare worker and got vaccinated. The other brother, 48, will not get vaccinated because he said, and I quote, I saw some things on social media made me, kind of convinced.
This went to my point about Google. I can go to Google and prove anything I want to myself because someone wrote about it. No matter what my opinion is, the way in which I Google it or the way in which I go to social media, even more importantly, because they have algorithms that do this on purpose for you, I can reinforce any concept.
Of course. But that doesn't mean you're right, and it doesn't mean we...
No.
So, okay, you don't want to get vaccinated? That's fine. But as I said before, and I know we're circling back and I'm repeating myself, but it does bear repeating just like when we've spent the last year dealing with this about masks.
Yes.
If you don't want to get vaccinated and you don't want to wear a mask, okay. But then you can shout into the wind that you can't go in this place and you're not being discriminated against because you won't get vaccinated. People are choosing to protect their businesses and protect their customers. And if you don't want to do that, okay. And if they're requiring you to be vaccinated to get on a plane and you don't want to get vaccinated, well, guess what? You can't get on the plane. And that's your decision. But here's the thing. And you know this as well as I do. People don't want to live with the repercussions of their actions. Yeah. They want to make their free choice, and then they want to do whatever the hell they want anyway. So
I appreciate that. I understand that. What I'm saying is that there are probably some businesses that would allow non-vaccinated people into. So the business community should be allowed to make those decisions on their own. Government should step out of the decision making. And I believe that certainly at a point earlier on in this whole pandemic, that it was no vaccine was available. There were a certain number of things that made it more important for the government to have a role, but we're very, very close to that line where it now no longer needs to be handled by the government at all. I do think that they now need to remove themselves from the equation as best. And as far as variants go, Cody, this is something you missed when your thing disconnected. There are other places in this world, places like India, that just don't have the ability to get the vaccine to as many individuals as we do. So variants are much more likely to pop up in areas that are not the United States, regardless of the amount of people that we have not get vaccinated, because of the inability to fight the pandemic as well in countries that are less financially well off than we are. There's a lot of studies that demonstrate that some of those places in Africa and India tremendously more likely to create a breakthrough coronavirus variant than anywhere in the developed world, in the more developed world.
Okay. And you said that like government should step out. So like, I guess we'll just let everybody fly here from India and like all of those places. You just load up planes.
I don't understand why the way we all argue as people now is to find like the one extreme version of what you said that's not accurate.
It's not extreme, but it's not extreme. Like Craig, you're talking about like with the public intervention, right? Like, a small business should be allowed to keep its door open. Like, right, you get 40 people in a bar, 2 of them have coronavirus. Suddenly they all have coronavirus. They bring it back to their families. They bring it back to their elderly relatives. They bring it back to people that haven't had the vaccine. I agree with you. Yes, like as more availability comes, more people will get it, and there'll be fewer situations like that. But what you don't understand is that that a pandemic is a public health emergency, and it is the role of a good government to do what it can to put policies in place that protect people so they don't die. And the U.S. had per capita far more people die than many, many other countries, which is
why that is? Do you know why that is?
Terrible. Because you know why that is? Good government. We didn't have good government policies in place.
No. A lot of other places in the world undercounted their numbers because they didn't have the testing ability that we had. There is a tremendous likelihood that the numbers throughout the entire world are much higher, and a lot of areas probably on par with the United States. They just don't. Mexico is one great example.
The numbers came out the other day that said we may have undercounted our deaths by almost half.
I'm aware.
We may be at 900,000 to 1 million people dead.
I'm aware. There are other places in this world that are never going to test why somebody passed away per se, and so there are going to be tremendous.
This is a race to the bottom, and it's irrelevant. The fact is, a lot of people died. More people than needed to die. Right? I don't care what other countries. I don't care if every other country had half their population die and we didn't. Okay, go America. I feel great about that.
Compare our numbers?
All right, fine, whatever. I threw it out there, and we did do worse than some other countries. Full stop. Period. We did worse than New Zealand. There. We did worse than one other country. There you go. I'm going to fly my New Zealand flag till I'm blue in the face. It doesn't matter how many people in other countries died. What I'm saying is we didn't do great. We are not America, the great country that was the leader of the world in this. We didn't do the best in the world.
We developed the vaccine very fast.
We sure did. And then we
did some of the best
and then
work
we had
in that
patent trolls
area
work as hard as they could to not give other countries instructions on how to make vaccines to save millions of lives. So I think America can suck it from that perspective. I think that's
we probably ruined a portion of the show.
Russia and the UK have also come out with vaccines. Thank you very much. So you know what? Like take your U.S. imperialism, white supremacy, and like shove it.
Wow.
Because
What?
I'm not all about that life. What I am all about is taking
What?
care of humans and saving lives when we can with a combination of good science communication, good media coverage, good journalism, good political, clear explanations, and good policy. And the U.S. did not create a nice cocktail that put all those things together. So to your point, yes, I think that regulations are lifting up as we get closer to herd immunity. And I think they're doing it in a reasonable manner. I'm not in a hurry to get everybody, out at the bars partying.
That's because you don't own a small business. You don't own a small business that's struggling. That's why you're not in a hurry. Because you don't own a small business that doesn't have enough customers. If you did, you'd want everything to be open quicker. It's just true. It's just a true. We can get at. We're never going to agree.
You're right, Craig. I would like, yes, Craig. If I prioritized money over people's safety, then yeah. And like that's not
such a high and mighty way to say that, though, man. And I like you as a person. You're a great dude. You're a very understanding, wonderful person. But assuming that we're going to have tremendous amounts of horrible medical things happen, even though people are getting vaccinated.
I think, Craig, if you were making this argument last year at this time, it would make more sense. We are at a point where things are opening up. I think, what did he say? June 5th, which is a couple weeks away. Yeah. Everything, it's going to be, we're opening. So the numbers were set a long time ago. The numbers were set a year ago. If we reach this point of positivity, we'll get to this. Then when we get to this point, we'll reach this. It's all been laid out. And I know, listen, I know small business owners who have struggled. Thankfully, most of them have made it through. But the ones that do, hold on, were the ones who were really adhering to the guidelines. They were protecting their staffs. They were protecting their customers. And, it's been horrible. But this was not, the virus didn't give a shit about small business, big business, your business, my business. It's a virus.
Yeah.
So people suffered, businesses suffered.
Yeah.
Everybody suffered.
Yeah.
But right now we are at the point where things are opening.
Well, the catalyst to this conversation was more about the messaging than about what's happening government. I think we should be open now. To be honest, I don't think it should take a couple more weeks.
The small business
I think we should be
Craig,
totally open now.
The small business thing, Craig, you have the wrong target. Like the solution is not, if you're a small business owner, you really need to reopen, and people can put their lives at risk if they choose to make things better. There are other ways that small businesses could survive. And that's by having a competent government that knows how to allocate resources. They waved a magic wand and made $1 trillion check.
We can't write blank checks.
We can't just give small business owners a boost. I didn't say that specifically. Craig, but we can't at the start of the pandemic. We can't shut down all air travel for 3 weeks in order to let the coronavirus die and then not have to worry about it spreading everywhere. We couldn't have done that. To argue that small businesses should be allowed to open and do whatever they want and public health at risk over any other solution. Get mad at the government. Get mad at states. I'm
not making that argument.
Get mad at banks for not waiving mortgage payments.
I'm not making this argument. I'm not making this argument 6 months ago.
Financial ways. There are
I'm not making this argument 6 months ago because I agree with you, Cody. I'm making it now.
Yeah,
I'm making it now because I don't think public health is at as much risk as it was before. I think public health is
But there are still a million ways that we can move around money, which is pretend and doesn't make any sense and is all imaginary numbers.
Then why ever pay it back? Can we all just not have to pay it back?
There are a million ways we can manipulate.
I like that idea, Craig. Finally, something we agree on.
Invisible numbers. There are a million ways.
Because the problem is they are invisible. They are invisible, but somebody's going to make us pay them back at some point. And I don't want to pay those.
There are not a million ways that the coronavirus can tiptoe around different businesses, right? So there's one thing we can control, and that's money. And we've chosen not to as a society because in our society, money is God.
So the last argument I'll make here is to point to Texas. Anyone who tries to make the argument the way I'm making it, Texas opened up look it up. Texas opened up 6, 7, 8 weeks ago. No mask mandate, no government intervention in how you lived your lives. Dr. Anthony Fauci went on TV for weeks saying that it was horrible to see the Texas Rangers Stadium full, to see the amount of people interacting in ways because it was dangerous to society. Their numbers trended down the entire time, still trend down. Cases, death toll, everything. Texas opened over a month ago and had no issues. Places like Florida now opening, places like Illinois not opening, at least maybe not for a few more weeks, and maybe still with some catches. That is tremendously disappointing to people who see some of those numbers behaving differently than what science expected it to be. And Texas is definitely something that a lot of scientists scratch their head about and then kind of ignore in the data.
And in parts of Florida, the numbers are starting to go back up. But I agree with you on this regard. We're not in as much danger as we were 6 months ago.
Correct.
We are definitely moving in the direction where I would say, I do think by the middle to end of summer, every place is going to be wide open.
No,
now,
that's way too long.
I'm saying completely wide.
I believe that's way too. I believe it should be basically now. I do. The people who aren't protected are people who are more and more likely to be willingly.
You're a scientist and an epidemiologist with a lot of experience, and no one's life is in danger from this. No one could literally die.
All I'm seeing is that I'm seeing is that there's a prevention method out there. People are choosing less and less to get that prevention method. At some point, we say it's their fault, and I know that that's heartless and mean. But at some point, you say it's out there. It's available. The moment I could get one, I got a vaccine. Right. We hope for everyone in society to do that. Everyone in society is not doing that. There comes a time when you're like, all right, people aren't doing it. So what do we do now?
I still think your argument is tying opening to numbers of vaccines, and that's never been
I hear you in Illinois. I hear you in Illinois that the thing that they look at is the amount of cases and the amount of serious illness and the availability in hospitals. Yeah. I understand that that's accurate. I do think the messaging assumes something different. And that's where we started this conversation, is that the messaging is flawed. And that the acceptable messaging to me is allow people to make a decision we disagree with, educate them, inform them. I'm not telling anyone to shut up. That's the opposite of freedom. But at the same time, you can't force people to do a thing. And reporting on that is tremendously flawed and probably encouraging people to make what some feel is the wrong decision. That's all I was really saying.
All right. Cody, are you reading? Is that why you look very...
No, I just think it assumes a lot. I think it assumes that certain things happen in a vacuum. And, if you're a small business owner and two of your employees choose not to vaccinate and then they die and you can't hire anybody and then your business goes down. And
it's awful. I don't want that to happen.
But the mental health of the people that have survived this thing in the most heavily armed population in the world, dude, if I had to send my kid to school this year, I wouldn't. Because I guarantee there's going to be a record number of school shootings. Everyone is pissed off. People are dying. People got guns. People are depressed. People are losing their homes, losing their money. Do you really think that this is a safe place to be in right now? And do you think it'll be safer by just letting things open up and letting more people die? That's just not the way things are going to work. Things do not exist in a vacuum. You don't just open the top and then say, you know what? A bunch of.
But the difference between that argument was made throughout the pandemic. The difference between now and back then is now there's a solve. Now there's a fix. Now there's a solution. And if you choose not to get it,
then you can get somebody else sick. Then you could be a carrier.
Somebody else who chose not to get it. Someone else who chose not to get it, Cody. If you got the vaccine.
Well, I got to correct you on that.
It's so the science is so minuscule in the amount of breakthrough coronavirus cases.
I understand. I'm just saying
that most people are inoculated.
The vaccines are 90% effective, which means they're 10% not. So yes, the risk of any of the three of us getting it, we've been vaccinated, minuscule. But you can't throw the baby out with the bathwater.
And even more importantly, the risk of us having serious illness. There have been almost no cases of death of people who've been fully vaccinated.
Well, that's why you get vaccinated.
None, zero.
That's why you get vaccinated.
Well, I was pretty sure it was zero, but I didn't want to speak in absolutes if I was wrong.
If it was not zero, then we would be facing a massive emergency as a planet.
Well, then even more so, I feel like we just proved my point. If there's zero cases of death, then all three of us, if someone is choosing to do something opposite than our decision, we're not likely to die.
You contradicted yourself with the Texas thing. Earlier, you were like, other countries are underreporting their numbers. How many people in Texas do you think are getting coronavirus tests? Like, of course, case rates are going down. People aren't going to the Dodger Stadium or whatever sports team is there and then running out to get a coronavirus test.
Cody, the only number that you would be right about is the amount of cases, death rates, everything went down. Are you saying that people also didn't report dying of coronavirus? Because all of the numbers in Texas sloped down, not just one.
I think I hear footsteps.
No, I'm pounding on that. I'm just waiting. Just pounding on the table. Yeah.
Yes, there are aberrations because Texans are not human. That's all I got.
Well, I got to say, this was a lively debate. This
went south. What'd you do, Craig?
I don't believe it. No, I think it lived up to the title of the show.
I'll skip next week.
Why?
I don't know.
Because we had a lively debate.
Maybe.
And here's the thing: we debated pretty hotly, but I guarantee that tomorrow we will all still be talking to each other.
Yeah,
that's true. So
like you both still.
This is see, so it can be done. This was a spirited debate with points on both sides. One side erroneous, the other side absolutely correct.
Thank you. That's nice of you to come around to my side.
I didn't. Yeah, you know what? Notice I didn't say what side. I'm just.
Alex, the answer is yes. To answer what someone else asked for earlier in the story, I have 3 people that I know, one of which is a family member that lost their life to coronavirus. Yes.
And you didn't say not to get vaccinated. I know you've reiterated that, but I've
been vaccinated. I believe in the efficacy of the vaccine.
I am restating that as in case, people were, no.
Yeah.
But the point is, I enjoyed this debate. It was, I like to have spirited disagreements because none of us got personal. This is a good lesson. People should listen to the last hour and a half of this or hour of this show and go, wow, those 3 guys did not agree on almost anything.
That's true.
There was not one personal assault. There was not.
We did get a little personal. I sent Craig 3 pictures of my junk. I texted that to him
normal
during this.
Cody does that during most of these shows.
I was going to say that's nothing new.
Yeah.
Except this time he didn't clean out the
Well, and all 3 of them did have a point about the vaccine. I guess that was new.
Wow. Yeah, you could suck the vaccine right out of this. That's a horrible, horrible GIF to send or GIF.
Jesus.
Listen, but my point is.
Yeah, Alex, I never doubted the seriousness of the vaccine either, and I'm very sorry that you've experienced that much loss.
So,
me too.
But see, I think we need more of this in the country. People being able to debate and not have it devolve into something that it's not supposed to be. And now we're done. And unfortunately, we don't have time to go back and talk about nuts on a rail or whatever we were talking about before. But
I don't remember. I don't remember.
I don't know either. I just know that this is. We've talked a long time. We've had a scintillating conversation. Mm-hmm. I want to remind everyone to listen to Craig's new show. It's not new anymore. It's a little more than a week old. That's Monday through Friday, 3 to 6 on WMBD. You can go to 1470.
Noonan, you want to do the show tomorrow?
Yes, we can talk.
Okay, we'll talk off.
What are we talking about? Yeah, because I got
a thing.
Yes, no, I got to go help my mom again.
Mow
Okay.
the lawn?
No, not mow the lawn. She has people to do that. You can listen to Cody every day on the Curiosity Daily podcast, curiositydaily.com. This Saturday, I will be on WTMJ from 4 to 5:30. So you can listen there at WTMJ.com. Anything else you guys want to cover?
I'm good.
You good?
Livewire's great soda.
Yeah, you drained it. And then you had Gushers. No wonder you were all revved up.
And I had the whole Diet Pepsi too.
Yeah, you need to. You're like a toddler. You get the sugar, you just start running around. I don't know when Cody lost his care. I think he went out and got some sugar too.
Makes sense.
But it was.
What did I lose?
Oh, when
yeah, that was weird. I don't know what happened. That wasn't even my VPN. Although then my VPN. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
You can follow us on Twitter as well. There's the Twitter.
I was gonna say something, and I had a thing, but that was like an hour ago, and I thought we were gonna wrap up before we launched into like the Vax Talk stuff. But
I don't know how that happened, but it happened.
Yeah, but I would like to. I ran a little behind today. just work has just been a lot. Everything's been a lot, baby, parenting, all that stuff. But there was a lot going on, and I know I came in kind of low energy, but like the whole time I was here, put me in a better mood. It was good. I was happy.
Good.
I was able to forget about other stuff. So that's cool. And I like that about this. And even though I got real fired up the last half hour or so, I want to echo what Brian said. I think he put it very well, that I still do really like both of you guys. So for some reason, for some God knows why reason, and I'm very much looking forward to doing this again next week. I've proposed maybe shifting to a slightly later time in future weeks. So keep an eye on the Facebook page for that, I guess. But
yeah, we may go back to our original time.
Yeah, same Tuesdays for sure. It'll be Tuesdays for sure, but maybe like 7:30, 8 o'clock. We'll see. But Brian will keep everybody posted on Facebook. So
We'll keep you posted on that. Enjoy the sweet life again, Craig. You're upgrade. Very nice.
I want to be out of this hotel so bad. Okay.
No. All right. Good luck with the house. Hopefully hopefully things work out. We will keep you keep us posted. And we'll talk to everybody next week. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Thanks for all the great comments. Don't forget, you can download this wherever you get your podcasts. If you're not watching here tonight, and if you are, well, then you know. I don't know why I'm rambling. Let's end.
Tell your friends.
Yeah, tell your friends. Like and subscribe. All right. Goodbye.